Chapter 599. The moon in the sea is the moon in the sky. The person in front of you is the person in your heart _4. At this moment, he even had the illusion that they were already an old couple. The window was open, and the cool breeze from the outside brought petals of gardenia in, floating through Ni Quihua's hair. Just like any rural woman, her hair was tied up with a wooden hairpin. It didn't seem tacky at all. A strand of hair fell from her forehead, elegant and virtuous. Don't laugh at her for going gray. Time doesn't defeat beauty. The wild cells inside Xianxia Dehui that had been stagnant for years were stirring again, but he had to suppress them. This time, he couldn't scare her off, no matter what. The tension between them gradually eased. Being with Xianxia Dehui made Ni Zihua feel an unprecedented sense of relaxation. Their conversation also became more casual. Ni Zihua said, "Are you really a teacher now?" Ni Zihua, who didn't know the truth before, thought Xianxia Dehui was quite suitable to be a teacher, but now she always felt something was off. "Really?" Xianxia Dehui continued. "After returning to the city, I got into college, then I continued to pursue my master's and doctoral degrees, and finally stayed in school to teach." Even he didn't expect that the once leader of Sijio City would become a teacher. Time is indeed a magical thing. Ni Zihua jokingly said, "Doesn't your principal fear you might mislead the disciples?" Xianxia Dehui replied, "Dia, you shouldn't be prejudiced. I have rehabilitated a long time ago. There's a saying, isn't there? A prodigal who returns is more precious than gold." Ni Zihua looked at him and refuted, "Xianxia Dehui, don't forget there's also a phrase, leopards never change their spots." Petals were scattered all over the courtyard, and the kitchen was filled with delicious aromas. At noon, Ni Zihua prepared a feast. She originally intended to roast a chicken, but since she was unsure of controlling the temperature of the bakehouse, she decided to marinate it for Ni Yang to roast when she returns in the evening. Today marks the first month since the restaurant's opening. Ni Yang was still spectating at the restaurant. The business has been operating for a month, and with enthusiastic service and delicious dishes, the restaurant had a lot of loyal fans and returning customers. Yet, there was only one VIP customer. Yang. A male voice suddenly rang out from behind. Ni Yang looked back and saw Chen Jitsong, who was holding a bouquet of bright red roses. "Mr. Chen. This is for you." Chen Jitsong handed the roses to Ni Yang. The Westerners believe that roses symbolize love and sincere, pure affection. Ni Yang didn't reach out to accept them. "I'm sorry, I already have a boyfriend." Previously, she accepted Chen Zikang's flowers because of the restaurant's grand opening, hoping for good luck. However, it's different today. Chen Jitsong had made it clear that roses stand for sincere, pure love. In these circumstances, if Ni Yang continued to accept his flowers, it could easily be taken the wrong way. Chen Jitsong argued, "I know you have a boyfriend, you've already told me. But having a boyfriend doesn't mean I can't give you flowers." And nothing stops him from pursuing her. He simply doesn't believe that Ni Yang's boyfriend could be any better than he is. In terms of looks, he is not bad. He had countless foreign women chasing after him when he was abroad. As for background, he comes from a reputable family in Beijing. Choosing a potential partner is all about looks and background, right? With both in his favor, what could Ni Yang possibly be discontented with? That was why, on the day the restaurant opened, Chen Jitsong boldly bet that he would win Ni Yang over. Ni Yang replied, "But I can't accept it." "But I've said I don't mind." Chen Jitsong was somewhat puzzled. Ni Yang was indifferent, "But I do." "What are you concerned about?" Chen Jitsong was confused. If he didn't mind, what was there for Ni Yang to worry about? Being concerned about having another suitor? And don't women usually feel more superior the more suitors they have? Why couldn't he see any superiority on Ni Yang's face? Ni Yang continued, "Because my boyfriend would be jealous." Chen Jitsong asked, "So you are not accepting these flowers?" Ni Yang shook her head. "Mr. Chen, you don't need to waste your time on me, because I really love my boyfriend very much." Chen Jitsong nonchalantly said, "You love yours, and I pursue mine. Romantic freedom is now the norm and no one can interfere with me." Besides, having an extra suitor gives you another option. I think that's pretty good. Times have changed. There's no need for girls to be so conservative. Chapter 600. The moon in the sea is the moon in the sky. The person in front of you is the person in your heart. Underscore 5. Having come back from studying abroad, he speaks his mind without mincing words. Chen Jizong firmly believes in one phrase. There's no flower that can't be pried away by a hoe, only a hoe that isn't trying enough. In his determination, he believes that he will inevitably pry Anai Yang away from her roots. Chen Jizong is full of confidence in himself. Anai Yang said, "Time is money. Rather than wasting time on the impossible, better to use it to do something meaningful. If something is impossible from the start, it is best to clarify it once and for all." Anai Yang dislikes ambiguity. Chen Jizong spoke bluntly, "We could start as ordinary friends. For me, the most meaningful thing now is to win you over. This may make it impossible for me to be friends with you." Anai Yang was also straightforward. Chen Zikang's intentions are clear. If she agreed now, things would become ambiguous. "Yang, I found you more and more interesting. Better call me Anai Yang. And I find you particularly uninteresting." In the past, Anai Yang didn't mind Chen Jizong calling her Yang since they were friends. Now knowing his intentions, hearing him call her Yang made her uncomfortable. It simply felt strange. "Wow, you're this petty?" Chen Jizong was somewhat taken aback. With a light tone, Anai Yang responded, "Yes, I am this petty. And I strongly dislike ambiguity. I have things to do and can't keep you company." As she finished her words, she turned and headed for the upstairs office. Chen Jizong watched Anai Yang's retreating silhouette, his heart beating even faster. No wonder he liked her. She was even more irresistible when rejecting him. He could hardly bear to let her go. Chen Jizong felt like surrendering on the spot. "How is it? This girl isn't easy to pursue, right?" Yang Kai walked over and patted Chen Zikang's shoulder. "It's not easy," Chen Jizong continued, "but for me, it's only a matter of time. You guys get ready to wash my stinky socks." Yang Kai smirked. "If I heard right, she just said she's cutting ties with you. Plus, she already has a boyfriend. Wake up. The one who needs to wash socks is you." Chen Jizong elbowed Yang Kai in the chest. "In this day and age, even people who are married can divorce. What's a boyfriend?" The divorce rate in Beijing during the 80s had been gradually increasing. Nor was divorce considered as scandalous as in the past. Yang Kai responded, "I think you're the sort who won't turn back until you hit a wall." Suddenly, Chen Jizong seemed to remember something. "Right? Help me find out who Yang's boyfriend is." Once he understands his rival, the better the opportunity to win the competition. Yang Kai looked at Chen Jizong. "Didn't she tell you to stop calling her Yang?" Chen Jizong gave Yang Kai a punch. "What's it to you if I call her that behind her back?" As soon as Anai Yang returned to the office, she received a call from Anai Tsuehua. Since the telephone at home hadn't been installed yet, Anai Tsuehua had to call from the village's supply and marketing cooperative. "Yang, your Uncle Shangguan and Aunt Danny are here. Come home early tonight and pick up some vegetables from the market on the way." Anai Tsuehua instructed on the phone. "All right, Mom, I got it." Anai Yang naturally wouldn't neglect her guests. She hung up the phone and headed out immediately. She bought some vegetables and fresh fruits from the market, then got on her bike to go home. Even though Anai Yang was now a business owner, she remained frugal and still used her old big crossbeam bike, her only mode of transportation. She never enjoyed displaying her wealth. Honk! A small sedan suddenly pulled up in front of her. Anai Yang immediately hit the brakes. At that moment, the window of the sedan slowly rolled down, revealing a handsome face. "Anai Yang, where do you live? I'll give you a ride." If it wasn't Chen Jizong, who else could it be? "No need. I'm fine going home on my own." Anai Yang directly declined. Chen Jizong continued, "Anai Yang, I don't mean anything else. I just saw you look tired from biking, so I wanted to give you a ride." Anai Yang was too lazy to deal with Chen Jizong. She turned the car around and went another way. Chen Jizong watched Anai Yang's back. His heart rate started to unconsciously quicken again. It had been a long time since he had met a girl with such a unique character like Ni Yang. He was certain that he could win over Ni Yang. Certainly. Chen Jitsong slapped the steering wheel fiercely. After Ni Yang returned home, she clearly felt the dynamic between Ni Tsuehua and Shangguan Dehui had changed. Exactly what had changed she couldn't say. Anyhow, it had been a long while since she had seen Ni Tsuehua smile so happily. Uncle Shangguan, Ni Yang greeted him politely. Yang, Shangguan Dehui nodded. Ni Yang looked around and asked, Mom, didn't you say Aunt Danny and Uncle Zhao were also here? Why don't I see them? Ni Tsuehua said, they went out to play. Oh, Ni Yang nodded. In the afternoon, Zhou Danny and old Zhao returned with the kids. The couple thanked Ni Yang profusely. Yang, we really can't thank you enough. If it weren't for you, Uncle Zhao would still be selling steamed buns. You have no idea how bad the business was. We couldn't even make a single yuan a day. To Zhou Danny and old Zhao, Ni Yang was like their family's benefactor. Ni Yang replied with a smile, Aunt Danny, Uncle Zhao, this is also due to your hard work and skills. I just played a small mediating role. If the steamed buns which you made were not delicious, who would buy them? I don't care, you're the savior of our family anyway. Ni Tsuehua listened on, baffledly. How did Ni Yang suddenly become the savior of Zhou Danny and her husband? Zhou Danny immediately explained everything to Ni Tsuehua. Big Ya, you are so blessed for having such an excellent daughter like Yang in this life. Shangguan Dehui, sitting aside, heard the whole thing and started looking at Ni Yang differently. It seemed that Big Ya's daughter was even more outstanding than he thought. By the way, Big Ya, you just mentioned that the newly renovated house next door belongs to you, right? Yes, Ni Tsuehua nodded. The interior has been renovated, but Yang said we should let it air out. So we have not moved in yet and plan to do so when the weather turns cold. Zhou Danny continued, then, Big Ya, you must take me to see your new house. Sure, Ni Tsuehua said, come with me. The two sisters walked arm in arm toward the new house next door. Old Zhao quietly followed behind the two, playing the role of an invisible man. In a blink of an eye, only Ni Yang and Shangguan Dehui were left in the room. Yang. What's the matter, Uncle Shangguan? Ni Yang looked up at Shangguan Dehui. Shangguan Dehui said, Uncle has a presumptuous request. Go ahead. Shangguan Dehui hesitated for a moment, then said, if you're free tomorrow morning, could I invite you for a meal? It was obvious that Big Ya cherished her daughter very much, so some things had to be approved by Ni Yang first. Ni Yang nodded, sure. The next day, Ni Yang arrived on time at the restaurant where she was supposed to meet Shangguan Dehui. Uncle Shangguan. Yang, what would you like to eat? Shangguan Dehui handed her the menu. Ni Yang casually ordered a few dishes, closed the menu, and said, Uncle Shangguan, the reason you asked me here today is that you have something to say to me, right? Having been bluntly called out by Ni Yang, Shangguan Dehui wasn't embarrassed, he just nodded directly. Uncle Shangguan, feel free to speak your mind. Chapter 601. Shangguan Dehui's honesty, extremely defensive. _1 calm. Ni Yang seemed too calm to him. Shangguan Dehui even had the illusion that Ni Yang already knew what he was going to say. Although the kid was only 18 years old, she gave Shangguan Dehui an inexplicable sense of oppression, the kind of feeling a guilt-ridden student has when seeing their teacher, but he was supposed to be that teacher. Shangguan Dehui picked up his cup and took a sip of tea, trying hard to calm himself down as he carefully chose his words in his mind. Ni Yang didn't rush either, gently stirring the coffee in her cup, not saying anything before Shangguan Dehui spoke. Although the atmosphere was quiet, it was not awkward. It wasn't until all the dishes were served that Shangguan Dehui finally spoke. Yang. Yes, go ahead. Ni Yang put down the silver spoon in her hand and looked up at Shangguan Dehui. Looking directly into the other person's eyes when speaking shows basic respect. Since Shangguan Dehui had something important to tell her, she naturally had to show the respect a junior should have. Yang, your mom and I actually met more than 20 years ago when I was a young laborer at a logging farm. Shangguan Dehui calmly told Ni Yang about his past with Ni Tsuehua. Of course, omitting the part where they fooled around. Later, I went to many places looking for her. Maybe it was fate that we didn't end up together. After a fleeting glimpse, I never saw her again. Gradually, Shengguan Dehui was no longer nervous. Throughout the process, Xianxia didn't show any particular emotions. She was always calm and quiet, like a listener. No wonder Xianxia and Shengguan Dehui got along so well yesterday. So it turns out that they knew each other years ago. Fate really is strange. Shengguan Dehui continued, "My name is Shengguan Dehui. I am 43 years old and currently teaching at Tsinghua University. My mother still lives. I have 2 children, a set of twins, a boy and a girl. My wife died in childbirth years ago. I am now single and I would like to pursue your mother, Xianxia." That's right. He wanted to pursue Xianxia. He didn't want to leave any regrets from the youthful years that had passed more than 20 years ago. Xianxia was taken aback. Even though she was prepared, she didn't expect Shengguan Dehui to be so direct. Love is between 2 people. As children, they have no right to interfere with their parents' love. The reason Shengguan Dehui told her all this was to seek the approval of this daughter, which shows that Shengguan Dehui respects Xianxia and values this relationship very much. The most important thing in love is respect. This also proves that Shengguan Dehui is not a selfish man. If he was selfish, he wouldn't have told her all this. Xianxia gave a slight smile. "Uncle Shengguan, the most important thing in a relationship is mutual consent. I'm not my mom, I can't speak for her, let alone make decisions for her. So, I think you're going to have to talk to her about this." Xianxia was speaking from the heart. She won't interfere with Xianxia's emotional life. As long as the other person's character is good and has no ulterior motives, even if Xianxia falls in love with a beggar, Xianxia won't object. Moreover, Xianxia had a very good impression of Shengguan Dehui. Her intuition told her that Shengguan Dehui could give Xianxia happiness, so she didn't oppose Shengguan Dehui's pursuit of Xianxia. For a moment, Shengguan Dehui began to question his own hearing and vision. Isn't Xianxia angry? He wants to pursue Xianxia, and Xianxia isn't angry at all? He had seen many single-parent families, where the children would oppose when one parent wanted to find a new partner, including the time with Lin Fong, when Changyu even showed a little resistance. He originally thought that Shengguan Su and Shengguan Shi were already quite sensible children. However, it turned out that Xianxia was even more sensible than them. Shengguan Dehui was even prepared for Xianxia's opposition and had thought of what to say to persuade her. "So, Xianxia, you're not against me pursuing your mother, are you?" "No, I'm not." Xianxia continued, "She's had a hard enough life in the former half. I hope the latter half could be a little sweeter for her. But there is one thing I want to say first." As she reached this point, Xianxia hesitated for a moment. "Go ahead, Xianxia." Xianxia said, "My mother is a person with a simple personality. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been cheated so horribly in the first half of her life. Uncle Shengguan, if you can win her heart, please make sure to treat her well. If not, I can do anything." This sentence carried a hint of warning. Chapter 602, Shengguan Dehui's Honesty, Extremely Defensive. _2. At that same moment, Xianxia bent the silver spoon in her hand with one hand. She was not joking. If Shengguan Dehui dares to bully Xianxia, she will make him pay a price. Shengguan Dehui seemed not to have expected this from Xianxia, and he was taken aback for a moment. This child's behavior was increasingly unlike that of an 18-year-old. She was more like a weathered overseer, with an intimidating air that could make one shudder inadvertently. Even he, as a teacher, felt an unnamed pressure. "Xianxia, don't worry. As long as your mother agrees, I promise to protect her for the rest of my life, without her suffering the slightest grievance." No one could understand Shengguan Dehui's feelings, having regained what he had missed in half his lifetime. Not to mention the least indignity, he would not even let Xianxia suffer a tear. Xianxia nodded. "Then please remember what you said today, Uncle Shengguan." "I swear." Shengguan Dehui raised 3 fingers. "If I break my vow today, let the heavens strike me with 5 thunderbolts." After the meal was finished, Xianxia proposed to say goodbye. Shangguan Dehui, laughing, escorted Ni Yang out of the restaurant. All the way back to the Shangguan family, Shangguan Dehui was all smiles. Dehui, you're in a good mood today. The Shangguan's old lady came out from the inner room. Mom. Seeing Shangguan Dehui in good spirits, the old lady Shangguan brought up an old topic again. Mom mentioned something to you last time. How have you considered it? Not everyone in this world is like Lin Fong. You can't just give up on everyone because of one Lin Fong. Shangguan Dehui naturally knew what the old lady Shangguan was referring to. He followed up with, Mom, don't worry, sometimes fate comes and you can't stop it. Such as now. He had never dreamed that one day he would meet Daya again. He had always thought he would have to wait till the afterlife to see her again. Heaven is not thin. Old lady Shangguan was taken aback, somewhat baffled by Shangguan Dehui's thoughts. Dehui, what do you mean? Shangguan Dehui smiled and said, Mom, I've caused you worry in recent days. That won't happen again. Old lady Shangguan squinted. Dehui, do you have someone outside? Shangguan Dehui didn't answer, which was taken as a tacit agreement. Tell your mother who the girl is. Old lady Shangguan was very excited. Shangguan Dehui said, Mom, don't be too happy too soon. Right now, nothing has been settled yet. Let me secure her heart first, then I'll tell you about it. Just hearing this, old lady Shangguan got even more excited. Great. Really great. Now I can rest in peace even if I die. Shangguan Dehui said, Mom, don't say such inauspicious words. All right, I won't say any more. Over the next few days, Shangguan Dehui would appear at the Ni family from time to time. And he always appeared when Ni Tsuehua needed him most. For instance, when the house's fuse burnt out, Ni Yang was not at home, no one could change it. Or when little Ni Yun was calling for her, but there's still porridge stewing in the pot. Ni Yang was often not home, and a man was indeed needed around the house. Although Shangguan Dehui was a teacher and bore a scholarly air, he was no pushover. After all, when he was young, he too was quite the man. He was very strong. Fetching water, chopping wood, even picking vegetables from the field. Even though Shangguan Dehui came to the Ni family often, no one in the village gossiped. Ni Tsuehua was a good person and Ni Yang had often helped the villagers. Everyone hoped that Ni Tsuehua could find happiness. A household without a man, how could it be? While there was no gossip in Jinghua village, there was much gossip in the neighboring villages. Xiaxuang's family field was right next to Niu Er's family field from the neighboring village. Xiaxuang's mom was tending to aloe vera plants while Niu Er's mom was harvesting rice. Niu Er's mom curiously asked, Can your aloe vera really sell for 2.5 cents per pound now? Xiaxuang's mom nodded. Absolutely, our family has sold several batches. If it wasn't profitable, why would we grow it? Niu Er's mom said enviously, At this rate, growing aloe vera is much more profitable than growing rice. I just wish our village had such good luck. Xiaxuang's mom replied with pride, Well, your village doesn't have a lucky star like ours. Now, in the neighboring villages, who didn't know that Jinghua village had a lucky star named Ni Yang? Chapter 603, Shangguan Dehui's Honesty, Extremely Defensive. _3. Niu Ermima continued, I heard the mother of your village's lucky charm likes to flirt with men. Xiaxuang's mom, Xiaxuang's dad is young and vigorous, and good-looking too. You better watch out. You mustn't let him be hooked away by some vixen from elsewhere. These words had a hint of instigation in them. If the person was gullible, they would be easily swayed. In fact, Niu Ermima came specifically to stir things up. Recently, Ni Tsuehua had been getting close with Shangguan Dehui, which she could use to her advantage. Now, everyone was making money in Jinghua village, who wouldn't be jealous? If the villagers of Jinghua village fell out with Ni Tsuehua, she would have to move out. At that time, they could step in and the lucky charm would become theirs. Niu Ermima was the village chief's daughter-in-law. Her plotting was ingenious. Xiaxuang's mom wasn't a fool either. She immediately retorted, Zhang Yinfeng, don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. Before you even bend over, I know you're about to talk shit. Trying to trick her? No way. Zhang Yinfeng felt a bit embarrassed. Xia Wang's mom, don't speak in such an unpleasant way. I'm just looking out for you. Look at that woman, she's not good, a widow yet flirty and not following women's rules. Zhang Yinfeng. Xia Wang's mom put down the scissors in her hand, walked up to Zhang Yinfeng, grabbed her wrist, and said angrily, clarify your words today. Who's flirting around? Who's not following the women's rules? And Hua was always kind and a nice person. Xia Wang's mom absolutely would not allow anyone to insult her like this. Zhang Yinfeng was taken aback by Xia Wang's mom's reaction and immediately became angry herself. What's wrong? Lu Chuanmiao, you dare to hit me? And Hua is indeed flirting around, not behaving like she should. That shameless fox. If I'm wrong, hit me. Go on, aim for the face. Zhang Yinfeng pointed at her own face. Lu Chuanmiao was known to be a calm person in Jinghua village. Would she dare to hit her? What a joke. No sooner had she finished speaking than Zhang Yinfeng received a solid slap on the face. Zhang Yinfeng shrieked, you dare to hit me? Zhang Yinfeng was a shrew by nature. When she started cursing, she didn't hold back. The curse words that came out of her mouth were extremely harsh. She was now sitting on the ground, cursing and crying, insulting Lu Chuanmiao in every way possible. The commotion attracted many people working in the fields to come and watch the spectacle. Seeing so many people there, Zhang Yinfeng immediately started complaining. After all, she was the one who had been hit. Everyone criticized Lu Chuanmiao, saying it was inappropriate to hit someone. Some suggested Lu Chuanmiao should take Zhang Yinfeng to the health clinic and apologize to her. Among these people, there were both from Jinghua village and the neighboring village. Seeing everyone siding with Zhang Yinfeng, Lu Chuanmiao lost her temper. You all want me to apologize to this woman, why don't you ask me why I hit her? The village chief of Jinghua village stepped forward and said, no matter what the reason, it's not acceptable to hit people. Comrade Zhang Yinfeng, rest assured, the people of Jinghua village are reasonable. Hearing this, Zhang Yinfeng immediately perked up, pretending to be in pain on the floor, demanding that Lu Chuanmiao take responsibility. I am responsible for your mother. Lu Chuanmiao looked at the village chief. Chief, do you know what this woman said about Yang Yang's mom? She called Yang Yang's mom a fox, accusing her of flirting and not following women's rules. Upon hearing this, the village chief's expression changed instantly. The villagers around also changed their faces, standing behind Lu Chuanmiao one after another. She dared to insult Hua. Hua was their village's Lucky Charms mom. No wonder Lu Chuanmiao couldn't stand it. However, Zhang Yinfeng didn't realize she was in the wrong and continued to stir the pot. What? Can't call a fox a fox. She is indeed flirting, not obeying women's rules. All of you, be careful with your men, don't let them be taken by that fox. Zhang Yinfeng was more and more excited. In the end, all sorts of harsh words came out of her mouth. Stinky woman. Say it again. I'll tear your mouth apart. The villagers who were originally helping Zhang Yinfeng suddenly rolled up their sleeves and charged forward, looking like they were about to beat her up. Zhang Yinfeng was taken aback, quickly stood up and hid behind the village chief. Chief Li, look at these unruly people in your village. You have to stand up for me. Chapter 604. Shangguan Dihui's honesty, extremely defensive. _4. Village Chief Li abruptly pulled Zhang Yinfeng from behind him. Zhang Yinfeng staggered, almost falling down, and looked at Village Chief Li with disbelief. She was somewhat confused about why the village chief had suddenly changed his demeanor. Didn't he just promise to back her up with a righteous face? Village Chief Li looked down at Zhang Yinfeng and angrily said, Comrade Zhang Yinfeng, would you care to explain? What do you mean by scheming and deviant behavior? What do you mean by not following woman's virtue? Comrade Hua is single now. As a single woman, she has every right to choose her own happiness. China has been liberated for decades. Do you still think we're living in the Qing dynasty where widows must live a life of chastity? If I recall correctly, your own younger sister just remarried a short while ago. So by your standards, she's a seductress, isn't she? If she's a seductress, what does that make you? A seductress sister? Comrade Zhang Yinfeng, do you know what you're doing is called? It's called slander. It carries legal consequences. When the village chief finished his speech, the rest of the villagers of Jinghua village echoed, "Exactly, what era are we living in? Male and female equality, freedom of love has long been established." Zhang Yinfeng only knows how to criticize others. She does not even see her own sister. I remember that her sister was being flirtatious with several men even when her husband was still alive. She was even caught in bed by her mother-in-law. Really? Are you serious? Absolutely. Listening to these words, Zhang Yinfeng's face turned red with embarrassment. She originally planned to disrupt the harmony within the village, but she ended up embarrassing herself. But Zhang Yinfeng is not the kind of person who would easily admit defeat, and Zui Hua is indeed a seductress. Shameless. You all don't know a good person's heart. You will regret this one day. Zhang Yinfeng's behavior thoroughly angered the villagers of Jinghua village. The crowd rolled up their sleeves, appearing ready to punch Zhang Yinfeng. Zhang Yinfeng, say it again if you dare. Whoever dares to cross Yang mother will have to cross me, Zhou Dalin, first. I think this woman deserves a good beating. Give her a good beating and she will behave. You are the seductress, your whole family are seductresses. You embarrassing creature. Zhang Yinfeng was dumbfounded. She never expected that village chief Li and the villagers would back up Zui Hua so forcefully. On the other hand, even though she has been bullied to this extent by the villagers of Jinghua village, her own villagers did not even dare to fart in protest. It's not that they didn't want to back Zhang Yinfeng up, but that Zhang Yinfeng was simply in the wrong. Who told Zhang Yinfeng to provoke those she should not have in Jinghua village? Wasn't she asking for it? Zhang Yinfeng backed off while sitting on the ground. Village chief Li continued, Zhang Yinfeng, let's put an end to this incident. If we hear you slandering comrade Zui Hua again, we in Jinghua village will not let you off easily. Okay, everyone disperse, go back to work. Zhang Yinfeng was pissed as hell. When has she ever lost an argument in their village? And this time, she lost so miserably. That's it? Lu Chu and Miao from your village slapped me, and you're just calling it quits? Do you think I'm that easy to bully? Zhang Yinfeng rolled up her sleeves and stood up from the ground. The village chief glanced back at Zhang Yinfeng. She slapped you? So what? You aren't satisfied? If you aren't, then swallow that dissatisfaction. I'm telling you. People from Jinghua village are not so easy to bully. If there's a next time, it ain't gonna be as simple as a slap. If something happens, we people of Jinghua village will bear it together. The villagers behind the village chief said, right? Well, bear it together. If you dare, say it one more time. At this time, Zhang Yinfeng could only choose to back down. A wise man knows when to retreat. Why can't the villagers in her village be as united as those in Jinghua village? Why couldn't she be a resident of Jinghua village? Zhang Yinfeng walked away with her tail between her legs in disgrace. Meanwhile, Lu Chuanmiao walked amidst the crowd like a hero. Xiaozwang's mom, that slap was so satisfying. What does Zhang Yinfeng think she is, that she can create discord like that? Zhang Yinfeng deserves to be beaten. The village chief walked in front and looked back. What happened today, let's keep it to ourselves. As if nothing happened, so as not to stress Yang's mother with unnecessary burdens. Village chief, what are you saying? Are we such ignorant people? Exactly, Yang's mother finally found someone good to live with, we can't scare him away. Chapter 605, Shengguan Dihui's Honesty, Extremely Defensive. _5. The village chief said with relief, if you all think this way, then I am much more at ease. In the Ni family home. After Ni Yang came back from town, she took a spray can and began watering the plants in the courtyard of the new house. While filling the watering can, she revealed a slender and fair wrist. A translucent jade bracelet on her wrist shone brightly under the sun. Zui Hua curiously asked, Yang, when did you buy this bracelet? It's so beautiful. Yang was taken aback for a moment, then she said, I forgot to tell you, This bracelet was given to me by Grandma Lu. And Aitsuehua seemed very surprised. This bracelet looks like it's worth a lot. How could you accept such a valuable gift from Grandma Lu? Grandma Lu is a lonely old woman living a difficult life. This bracelet might be the most valuable thing she has. Ni Yang explained the situation to Ni Zihua. After understanding the ins and outs of the matter, Ni Zihua nodded. Since this is a token of affection from Grandma Lu, then you should cherish it. Grandma Lu is alone, so we have to be kind to her in the future. Ni Zihua has never been one to take advantage of others. Now that the bracelet couldn't be removed, all she could do was to treat Grandma Lu even better. Yes, Mom, I understand. Ni Yang continued, Oh, Mom, I have something to do tonight. I might have to go out later. Ni Zihua looked a bit perplexed. Going out? It's almost 6 o'clock. Where are you going? To town. Ni Yang answered. Do you want me to accompany you? It's already very late. Ni Zihua seemed a bit worried. You don't have to. Ni Yang shook her head. I can manage on my own. All right then. Ni Zihua proceeded. Remember to come home early. Today is the 9th of the lunar month September. If Ni Yang remembers correctly, today is the day when the master's eldest apprentice had an accident. Although the master and his wife practice traditional Chinese medicine, they still have an willful son who is fond of the martial arts. Big Brother succumbed to his death while working as a bodyguard for a wealthy person in a confrontation with a gangster. In Ni Yang's memory, these incidents were quite serious. 2 people died then, one being Big Brother and the other being his employer. In the dim night, Ni Yang was biking along the road. Stop the car. Zheng Xianjing, who was in the back seat, suddenly told the driver to stop. Upon hearing this, the driver immediately halted the car. I have something to handle, you go back first. Zheng Xianjing picked up the beige coat on the back seat, got out of the car, and looked back at the driver. Sure, miss, the driver nodded. Zheng Xianjing asked the driver to stop because she saw Mo Baichuan. Having recognized Mo Baichuan as Mr. Mog, she would not miss any opportunity to interact with Mo Baichuan. Brother Baichuan. Zheng Xianjing approached him and held Mo Baichuan's arm. Xianjing. Mo Baichuan's gaze shifted from the figure at the end of the street. Zheng Xianjing squinted slightly and involuntarily looked in that direction. Upon looking, her pupils contracted slightly. It's her, Tai Yang. The same girl whose hair the dead wife had used for identification. Zheng Xianjing hid her appearance well and asked softly, Brother Baichuan, what are you doing here so late? He's waiting for me. Just then, another woman's voice appeared in the air. When Zheng Xianjing looked up, she saw a confident woman with heavy makeup. Zhao Jingrong. Why is Zhao Jingrong here too? Zheng Xianjing suddenly had a bad feeling. Miss Zhao? With a high-handed attitude, Zhao Jingrong pulled Zheng Xianjing's hand off Mo Baichuan's arm, put her own arm around Mo Baichuan's, and smiled a winner's smile. Baichuan, didn't you introduce Miss Zheng to me? Mo Baichuan looked at Zheng Xianjing and said, This is my girlfriend, Zhao Jingrong. What? What did she just hear? Zheng Xianjing's face instantly turned pale. Zhao Jingrong is actually with Mo Baichuan. What the hell is going on? Compared to the slightly tainted Sun Dalian, Zhao Jingrong is much harder to deal with. After all, Zhao Jingrong is a legitimate high-class lady. Brother Baichuan, how could you be with her? Zhao Jingrong gave a slight smile. Excuse me, Miss Zheng, why can't I be with Baichuan? Brother Baichuan. Zheng Xianjing looked at Zhao Jingrong. Miss Zhao was once engaged to Uncle Mo. She almost became your aunt. How could you possibly be with her? Besides herself, Zheng Xianjing can't accept anyone being with Mo Baichuan. How can it be like this? She went through such great lengths and even spent 30,000 yuan, only to end up benefiting Zhao Jingrong. How can Zheng Xianjing accept this? Zhao Jingrong laughed. Miss Zheng, your thinking is quite old-fashioned. The Zheng family is not without resources. Why don't they expose Miss Zheng to the world outside? As you said, I was once engaged to Mo Qishan. Since the engagement was terminated, naturally, men and women can marry whoever they wish. Do I need to inform you, Miss Zheng, who I choose to be with? Or are you saying, Miss Zheng, you have inappropriate thoughts about other people's boyfriends? Zhao Jingrong's last sentence was laced with a mocking smile. She's not easily messed with. It won't be so easy for Zheng Xianjing to try to steal Mo Baichuan from her. Zheng Xianjing's face turned from white to red. She turned her head to look at Mo Baichuan. Brother Baichuan, what the hell is going on? Grandma and Grandpa Mo would never approve of you two being together. That's none of your concern. Mo Baichuan broke his silence. He wants to be with Zhao Jingrong. If Mo Qishan can be with Ni Yang, then why can't he be with Zhao Jingrong? Didn't Ni Yang say that she and Mo Qishan truly love each other? He wants to see how long those two can keep up their act. Zheng Xianjing was almost dying of rage. Brother Baichuan, how can you be like this? This is wrong. Baichuan, let's go. Zhao Jingrong looked at Mo Baichuan. Okay. Mo Baichuan nodded. Brother Baichuan. Zheng Xianjing reluctantly clung to Mo Baichuan's clothes. Zhao Jingrong turned around and pried Zheng Xianjing's hands off finger by finger. Miss Zheng, if you still have some dignity left, stop making a spectacle of yourself. Even if you don't care about your reputation, Madame Zheng still does. Zheng Xianjing was shivering with so much anger that she could only watch Zhao Jingrong lead Mo Baichuan away. She absolutely cannot lose to Zhao Jingrong. Zheng Xianjing looked at the retreating figures of Zhao Jingrong, her eyes like venom. The nights in September are already a bit chilly, particularly at nightfall. Ni Yang tightened her beige coat as she walked toward the alley up ahead. The silver-white moonlight dusted her body with a layer of radiance. The alley was silent, without even the sound of insects. Ni Yang had already been waiting here for a long time, but there was still no one in sight. Just as she was about to wonder if she had gotten the date wrong, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed in the alley. Thump, thump, thump. Ni Yang looked up and saw two men in suits rushing towards her. There were no lamps in the alley, but with the help of the moonlight and her exceptional senses, she instantly identified the two figures as the eldest Marshall brother and his employer. Listening to their breaths, one of them was injured. Ni Yang's eyebrows furrowed as she walked briskly forward, removing her obstructive coat as she went. For easier fighting, she hadn't worn a cheongsam today, opting instead for a simple outfit of a white knit top, black trousers, and white sneakers. Smack! She tossed her coat aside, fearlessly moving forward. A breeze stirred her long, elegant hair, and as she passed the two men she whisperingly commanded, "Hurry and run ahead. Don't look back, just leave the rest to me." Chapter 606, A Night of Terror, Snatched from the Jaws of Death, Second Update, _1 Ni Yang's words had just fallen when one of them noticeably hesitated, raising his head to look at Ni Yang. His eyes were sharp as a sword, making it somewhat hard to breathe. In the moonlight, you could vaguely see a pale face. Ni Yang lightly raised her eyebrows. In her past life, she had seen a photo of her senior martial brother. This man was not him. At this moment, a thug armed with a steel pipe suddenly rushed towards them. Under the moonlight, the steel pipe glinted frostily. If one were hit in the head with it, their brains would scatter all over the place. They would be killed on the spot. Ni Yang didn't give the thug a single glance before she suddenly kicked up, hitting the thug's jaw. Bang! The thug's figure instantly fell to the ground, his steel pipe flung into the air by the ruthless force. Ni Yang, seemingly devoid of any thought, casually reached out and accurately caught the steel pipe that was falling from midair. Her actions were incredibly cool. With her back to the moonlight, holding a steel pipe, standing against the light, her silhouette slender, the moonlight draped a layer of purity over her body. She had a strong yet chilling aura about her. Her face was not clearly visible, but people didn't dare to look straight at her. They were awestruck with fear. After that man took a glance at Ni Yang, he quickly averted his eyes and said to the person beside him, "We should leave, quickly." The weakness that he was unable to conceal lingered in his gentle voice. It seemed like he could fall down at any moment. "Okay." The other man nodded, helping the man as they quickly ran towards the alley entrance. At this point, Ni Yang took out a bottle of pills she had on her, and without looking back, she threw it behind her. "Take this with you." The small bottle of pills accurately landed in one man's jacket pocket. The man was slightly stunned, but he didn't stick around. He ran off immediately without looking back. When the thugs saw the men run off, they wanted to give chase, but upon seeing Yang armed with the steel pipe, they hesitated. As they exchanged glances, they saw fear in each other's eyes and nobody dared to pursue them. Just then, a bulky man in his prime forcefully shoved his way through from the back. "Go! What are you all waiting around for? We have so many people, are we scared of a single girl?" Inspired by these words, everyone mustered up some courage to charge along behind the bulky man. Of course, even with all their numbers, would they be afraid of a single girl? Yang revealed a faint smile. She swung the steel pipe in her hand and simultaneously performed a flawless backspin kick. Her moves were relentless, giving the thug no chance to hesitate. Bang! 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 One by one, the thugs fell to the ground. The remaining people didn't dare to rush forward. They looked at the hefty man and said, "Brother Biao, what do we do?" As Brother Biao got up from the ground, he glanced at the end of the alleyway and then back at Yang. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, then bitterly said, "Let's go." Immediately, everyone stumbled to their feet. All the while keeping their gaze on Yang, they retreated before ultimately fleeing in a cloud of dust. It's not wise to chase an adversary when he's at the end of his rope. Moreover, these people are real desperados. It's highly likely there are more people backing them up. Yang is alone and outnumbered. If she carelessly pursued them, she might end up in mortal danger. Now she just needs to ensure that her senior martial brother and his employer are safe. Yang picked up the coat on the ground and casually put it on. She walked back unhurriedly. The moonlight cast her long shadow on the ground. A black business car was parked outside. You couldn't see the inside of the business car from outside, nor could you hear any noise. The man lying on the plush leather sofa in the back seat was skinny and pale, with a noticeable bleeding wound on his waist. The middle-aged doctor was kneeling beside the man, frowning and saying, "Mr. Dusk's condition is very serious at the moment. He needs immediate treatment." Hearing this, a tall man with a bronze complexion wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and angrily yelled, "Well then, what are you standing around for? Save Mr. Du now." The driver in the front seat immediately started the engine, hurriedly heading towards the hospital. The doctor continued, "The hospital is 23 kilometers from here, and I'm not sure if Mr. Du can last that long." "Damn." The man was furious, grabbing the doctor by the neck. "What use are you then, if Mr. Du keeps you around?" The doctor's face instantly turned pale. Someone immediately interceded for the doctor. "Brother Wang, calm down. Having a doctor is still better than not having one, considering the hospital is so far away." Right. The doctor immediately chimed in. "I can still perform emergency medical treatments for Mr. Du." Only then did Wang Ziki release the doctor. "If anything happens to Mr. Du, you're going down with him." The doctor was frightened, cold sweat was pouring from him, and even his hands were shaking. At this moment, Wang Ziki looked as if he remembered something and squinted. "What did you say you didn't have?" No, medicine," the doctor gulped down. "Could you use this?" Wang Ziki pulled out a blue porcelain bottle from his pocket and threw it in front of the doctor. The doctor took the porcelain bottle, opened the lid and smelled it, his face lighting up. "It's Ninglu pill. Sir Du can be saved." With a squint, Wang Ziki asked, "Are you certain Sir Du can use this medicine?" Wang Ziki did not know Yang. Therefore, he did not trust her completely. He dared not rashly use the medicine she gave to Sir Du. What if she was a mole sent by their rivals? Unexpectedly, the medicine she gave really worked. "Who really is she?" The doctor nodded, confidently stating, "Yes, I am certain. Ninglu pills have cooling, detoxifying and blood-stopping effects. It perfectly matches Sir Dusk's symptoms." Still unsure, Wang Ziki poured a pill from the bottle and handed it to the doctor. "You eat one first." The doctor hesitated. "This Ninglu pill is very precious, priceless. There are only 2 left in this bottle. Physician's kindness. To those without illness, this pill is not even as good as a sugar pill." But in front of those suffering from severe diseases, it could save lives. If I tell you to eat it, just eat. Wang Ziki forcibly opened the doctor's mouth and stuffed the Ninglu pill in it. Feeling helpless, the doctor swallowed the pill. Seeing that the doctor swallowed the pill without any reaction, Wang Ziki felt relieved, and then let Sir Du swallow the remaining pill. The effect of the Ninglu pill was very good. After Sir Du swallowed it, the blood from his waist slowly stopped. The doctor started some emergency measures, and in a little while, Sir Du opened his eyes. Ziki. Sir Du looked at Wang Ziki. Sir Du. Wang Ziki immediately propped up Sir Du, looking around at the environment and pinching his temples. Sir Du asked, "Was that person arranged by you?" "No." Wang Ziki shook his head. "I didn't expect those bastards would dare to make a move on you. This is not the way home." Sir Du looked out the window. Wang Ziki continued, "You are severely injured. We are going to the hospital now. Go back." "What?" Wang Ziki paused. Still a bit weak, Sir Du leaned against the car door. "Find her." "Who?" Wang Ziki asked, confused. Sir Du squinted his eyes, responded lazily, "The person who saved me tonight." "That person?" Sir Du interrupted Wang Ziki. "Don't worry, she's not from there." Wang Ziki squinted. "But, don't you think her appearance was too coincidental? They had encountered danger, and she was just there. In the middle of the night, a young girl. How could she possibly be at such a place? It was clearly a well-prepared move. Her motives are not pure. I've met countless people in my life. She is indeed not simple, but she is not our enemy." After saying this, Sir Du looked towards the driver's seat. "Xiaohu, make a U-turn." "Yes." Xiaohu immediately turned around at the next intersection. Screech. With a harsh brake sound, the car stopped at the entrance of the alley. As it happened, a figure in a beige coat walked past the car. Her hanging black hair covered her features. Sir Du's pupils narrowed as he slowly straightened up. "Help me out of the car." Wang Ziki immediately assisted Sir Du out of the car. As soon as they got out of the car, the figure got into a black sedan, and its taillights quickly disappeared into the dark night. "Check whose car that is." Sir Du turned to Wang Ziki. "All right." Wang Ziki nodded as he looked in the direction where the taillights disappeared. Chapter 607. Not the ordinary grandfather, Shangguan Dehui, who proposed. _1 Cgeo City isn't particularly large, but it isn't small either. If you're aiming to find out who owns a specific vehicle in just a fleeting glance, you wouldn't find it easy at all. Wang Ziki followed up, saying, "Leave the search to me. Master Du, you're still injured. How about we go back first?" This Master Du was not just any other master. He came from Shanghai. His father was once the big shot in the famed foreign concessions there, so intimidating that even the military officials of that time didn't dare to provoke him. This Master Du also inherited his father's cold-bloodedness and ruthlessness. But sadly, all good things must come to an end. He was born sick and frail. His health wasn't good, and even the doctors predicted he wouldn't live past 18. Against all odds, he survived past his 18th birthday and is now 30 years old. A wandering monk said that he must stay in Beijing for a year, and then he would be able to live a healthy life for the rest of his days. Unfortunately, he ran into this trouble soon after his arrival in Beijing. This night was inevitably going to be a sleepless one. By the time Ni Yang returned home, it was already past 2 in the morning, but the lights in the house were still on. As soon as she opened the courtyard door, Ni Tsuehua came out from inside. "Yang is back." Ni Yang was surprised. "Mom, why are you still awake?" Ni Tsuehua said with a smile, "I wasn't sleepy, I was just studying English. Parents' love is a boundless sea." She wasn't not sleepy, she was worried about Ni Yang. Ni Yang closed the courtyard door. "It's already past 2 o'clock. In the future, if I go out, you don't have to wait for me. I am an adult and can take care of myself." Ni Tsuehua nodded, then said, Yang, I've prepared the bath water for you. Go freshen up and sleep soon." "Okay," said Ni Yang. "Mom, you should go to bed soon too." Ni Tsuehua had not only prepared the bath water but also rose petals and milk. Adding rose petals and milk to bath water can make the skin delicate, smooth, and fair. Ni always pays great attention to her skincare routine, and that's why her skin is so great. Although it was late, Ni still enjoyed a luxurious rose-infused milk bath. By the time she got into bed, it was already past 3 o'clock. Because she had stayed up late, she didn't wake up until after 10 o'clock the next morning. Yang. As soon as she finished eating, someone outside was calling her. Ni ran to open the door, only to see that it was Li Ronghua. After breaking up with Zhou Wenhua, Li Ronghua became more independent and radiant. Sister Ronghua. Yang, are you going into town later? I have the day off today and I want to go shopping in town. If you're going, we can go together. It's always nice for girls to have company, and Ni just happened to live in Jinghua village. Yes, Ni nodded. But I need to wash my hair first. I'll wait for you. Li Ronghua entered the yard with Ni and asked curiously, your family's new house is decorated so beautifully, when are you going to move in? Speaking of which, Ni's new house had been finished for a while now. Ni said, we plan to move in at the end of the year. Just in time to celebrate the new year there. Now that it's just been renovated, the smell inside the house is too strong. It's not good for children. Li Ronghua nodded, yes, Yun at your home is still so small. After washing her hair, Ni went to change her clothes. She wore a pink cheongsam. Pink is a color that requires a certain charisma to pull off well. Worn without care, it would overshadow the person. But on Ni, the color seemed to lose its shine. She matched it with a pair of beige high heels, which when walked in, exuded a great sense of vigor. The combination of pink and beige conveys a playful sophistication, balancing both vibrancy and innocence. Li Ronghua enviously said, Yang, every cheongsam of yours looks so good. Ni laughed. If you want, I have more in my wardrobe. You can pick any you like. 80% of her daily outfit was cheongsams. Li Ronghua replied, no, thanks. Cheongsam is not for everyone. It looks good on you but not necessarily on me. Cheongsam is indeed one of the most demanding outfits. It requires not only a good face but also a good figure and charisma. Although she was pretty, she felt unsophisticated when she wore a cheongsam, unlike Ni, who looked naturally graceful. The two took the tram to the city. Now, the business in the restaurant had basically stabilized, so Ni didn't go there often. She mainly managed the accounts on scheduled days, evaluated performance, and occasionally would disguise herself as a customer to test the staff's service attitude. Chapter 608, Shengguan Doi, the Extraordinary Grandpa Proposing for Marriage. _2. So, upon arriving in the city, Ni immediately went to a newsstand to buy a newspaper. Having quickly scanned it, Ni quietly breathed a sigh of relief. There was no news on the paper about fatalities. It seemed that her eldest brother had successfully evaded a looming disaster. In her past life, after this incident, the entire news industry was in an uproar. The headlines of all major news outlets were about the murder that had taken place in Bottomless Lane. In her master's home, one such piece of news was kept, which Ni had glanced at unintentionally. Because it was the last photo left by her brother before he passed away, her master and his wife neither dared to bring it out to look at, nor had the heart to throw it away. Li Ronghua, standing next to Ni, remarked, Yang, I didn't expect you to like reading the news. Ni folded the newspaper and put it in her backpack. I'm just killing time, there's nothing else to do. By the way, Sister Ronghua, I need to go to the bank next. Do you want to come? Li Ronghua nodded. Sure, I don't have anything else to do either. The two of them went to the bank where Ni withdrew 100,000 yuan. At that time, if you were to withdraw more than 10,000, you needed to make an appointment 3 days in advance. Ni had made her appointment a few days earlier, so she got her cash quickly. Li Ronghua watched as Ni stuffed the cash into her canvas bag, astonished. Yang, why are you withdrawing so much money? 100,000 yuan. That's a whole bag of it. This was the first time Li Ronghua had ever seen so much money, and it felt surreal. She was even a bit worried about Ni carrying so much cash. What if she got mugged? To buy a house. Ni responded. Buy a house. Li Ronghua asked perplexedly, why would you want to buy a house? Doesn't your family already own one? Investment. Ni Yang slung her backpack over her shoulder. Sister Ronghua, let me tell you, in the future, the real estate prices in Beijing will soar by 10, even 1,000 times, especially for the houses in the city center. Not to mention the city center, even the prices for the houses in Yanjiao, which is next to Beijing, will be speculatively high in the coming years. Unlike now, where buying a house is like buying cabbage. No one even wants to buy one. Really? Li Ronghua walked out with an eye Yang. Yang, don't get conned. Isn't it enough to just own a house? What's the point of buying so many? Li Ronghua had seen people hoarding cabbages for winter, but she had never seen anyone hoarding houses. And Yang laughed. It's true. Sister Ronghua, when you get home, tell your parents to invest as much money as they can into real estate. Whoever is capable of buying in the city center should buy there. If that's not feasible, buying in the suburbs is also a great bargain. Li Ronghua scratched her head. This seems a little far-fetched. If she asked her parents to invest all of their savings into real estate, they would definitely refuse. And Yang carried on. Sister Ronghua, I'm quite serious. If your parents don't want to buy, I suggest you save up and buy one yourself. The government policy is really good now. As long as you have a regular job, you can apply for an interest-free loan from the bank to buy a house. In early 1983, the government had a poverty alleviation policy that offered interest-free loans. With all the bonuses and salary that Li Ronghua gets, she earns 300 yuan a month, which is even more than the salary of a white-collar worker in later years. The price of a bare shell house in the city center of Beijing is more than 300 yuan per square meter. A two-bedroom apartment of 80 square meters would only cost a little over 20,000 yuan. With a loan, there wouldn't be much financial stress for Li Ronghua at the moment. But Li Ronghua shook her head after hearing Ni Yang's words. What? Borrowing money to buy a house? Isn't that asking for trouble? Plus, I don't see the appeal of living in the city. It's like living in a pigeon coop. If I had money, I'd build a big house in the countryside. That would be spacious and comfortable. I could raise chickens if I want to, or ducks if I prefer. City living is so restricting, even having a puppy makes the whole house stink. And Yang laughed. Sister Ronghua, the way you're thinking is wrong. The house you buy now will be your marital property. I'll offer you some security, at least providing you with some bargaining power at your in-laws' place. The most important thing for a woman is to have some premarital property and to be financially independent. Premarital property? Li Ronghua asked, what's the difference between premarital and postmarital property? Although she recognized each individual word uttered by Ni Yang, she couldn't understand the meaning when they were combined. Chapter 609. Not the usual grandpa, Shengguan de Hui who proposed. _3. Ni Yang said, the difference is significant. Premarital property is your individual property, while postmarital property is shared between you and your spouse. If one day your marriage falls apart, you'll have to split the house you bought after marriage as well as your salary in half. But the property you owned before marriage is all yours. So many people suffer from not understanding the law. And so many women have been swindled by worthless men and left destitute. Li Ronghua continued, why is that? So, you're saying if I save money now, after I get married, I'll have to split it evenly with my partner? And Yang nodded, exactly. You could also notarize your premarital property. However, I think the safest bet is to buy a house. After all, a house appreciates in value, while money sitting in a bank is dormant. For example, if 2 yuan can buy a kilo of pork now, perhaps 20 or 30 years later, 2 yuan could only buy a popsicle. If 20,000 yuan can buy a house now, you might not be able to purchase one for 2 million yuan later. You spend 20,000 yuan on a house now, and in the future, it could be worth 2 million or even more. But if you just store your money in the bank, perhaps later you won't even be able to afford a washroom. Li Ronghua was surprised. Yang, is what you said true or false? Will house prices really rise that fast? Ni Yen gave a faint smile. Anything is possible. Anyway, Sister Ronghua, rather than keeping your money in the bank, it's better to buy a house. Li Ronghua responded, "But I don't have that much money now." "Get a loan." And Ai Yang said, "The current national policy is so good, and you don't even have to pay interest. But I still have to pay back the principal." Li Ronghua said, "I just don't like to borrow money." And she always had a feeling that the whole idea of investing in a house seemed a bit far-fetched. People are not gods. Who can foresee what will happen in 20 or 30 years? Maybe in 30 years, the house can't be sold, is worthless, and she has wasted tens of thousands of yuan for nothing. And Ai Yang smiled and said, "That's something you'll need to decide for yourself. Yang, are you really going to use 100,000 yuan to buy a house?" Li Ronghua continued to ask. And Ai Yang nodded. "Yang, aren't you afraid of losing money? It's not easy to earn money these days." Although Ai Yang had quite a bit of money, Li Ronghua knew that Ai Yang's money didn't come easily. And Ai Yang said, "Beijing is a first-tier city, and there will always be people in first-tier cities. Where there are people, there needs to be houses. So, Sister Ronghua, rest assured, this investment is guaranteed to turn a profit." Li Ronghua nodded, "As long as you've thought it through, Yang." Honestly, Ai Yang grabbed Li Ronghua's arm. "Sister Ronghua, you should buy a place too." Li Ronghua shook her head. "I better not." Seeing that Li Ronghua was adamant, Ai Yang stopped persuading her. She went to the sales office, bought 5 houses in one go, and then returned. "Sister Ronghua, I've basically finished handling my business. Where would you like to go next?" Ai Yang looked at Li Ronghua. Li Ronghua said, "Let's go and get something to eat. I'm kind of hungry. A new food street has just opened up on Yurtist Road." "Okay." Ai Yang nodded. The two arrived at the food street. Just like food streets in later years, the stalls lined both sides of the street, and the food street was crowded with people, practically heel to heel. Ai Yang and Li Ronghua bought some stir-fried rice noodles and grilled meat skewers, found a spot and sat down to eat. Wang Meiying, along with Zhou Xiuzhen and Da Qiangzi's mother, were also on the snack street. Today was a day off, and the factory was closed. Wang Meiying caught sight of Li Ronghua eating and couldn't believe her eyes. How dare she, Li Ronghua, to secretly eat out behind Zhou Wenhua's back? By this point, Li Ronghua hadn't been to the Zhou family for nearly 2 months and hadn't given any money to Zhou Wenhua. Last week, when Zhou Wenhua needed 2 yuan to buy study materials, she had to provide it. When she asked her to give Zhou Wenhua 1,000 yuan, she refused. This Li Ronghua, was she still considering marrying into the Zhou family or not? Wang Ming hardened her face, putting on the demeanor a mother-in-law should have. "Xiuzhen, call Li Ronghua over." Since Da Qiangzi's mother was there, she could see how she would reprimand Li Ronghua. Da Qiangzi has yet to marry a wife. But her son was sought after by others who wanted to marry into her family, giving Wang Meiying an air of superiority in front of Da Qiangzi's mother. Chapter 610, Not Your Average Grandpa, The Proposing Shangguan Dehui. _4. As soon as Zhou Xiuzhen heard the 3 words, Li Ronghua, her eyes immediately lit up. Li Ronghua, where is Li Ronghua? Although Zhou Xiuzhen didn't like Li Ronghua, she liked Li Ronghua's money. Every time she ran into Li Ronghua outside, he would buy her a bunch of food to please her, and then he would even give her spending money. "Over there," Wang Ming nodded with her chin. Zhou Xiuzhen immediately stood up. "Wait a second," Wang Ming continued. "What's wrong?" Zhou Xiuzhen asked, puzzled. Wang Ming went on, "There's a roasted chicken for sale over there. Have Li Ronghua buy 2 roasted chickens. Eat one here and take one back for your auntie. Your brother Da Qiangzi loves roasted chicken the most." After all, it was Li Ronghua's money being spent, but it was her face that grew long, so Wang Ming didn't feel the slightest bit sorry. Zhou Xiuzhen nodded. "Okay, Mom, I got it." Da Qiangzi's mother asked curiously, "Who is this Li Ronghua?" Wang Meiying said proudly, "He's just the girl who's throwing herself at my son. I bet she's made my son angry. That's why she's come after me to ask me to persuade my son to forgive her." "Go to Wuxia World." Sight Da Qiangzi's mother said in surprise. "Which one? Which one is she? I want to see what this girl who's throwing herself at someone looks like." Wang Ming pointed toward one direction. "Look, that one over there." Xianxia's mother stood up and looked in that direction. Is it the one wearing the cheongsam? That girl is really beautiful. She's so pretty, what could you possibly be unsatisfied with? Hey, why do I feel like I've seen that girl somewhere before? Isn't she the one who was serving noodles in the noodle restaurant last time? Such a beautiful girl, why would she throw herself at Zhou Wenhua? What a waste. Wang Ming glanced that way, not the one in the cheongsam, the one next to her in the cheongsam. Oh, her. Although Li Ronghua wasn't as pretty as the girl next to her, she was still presentable and stood out among the average maidens and young wives. What a shame she had thrown herself at someone. Xianxia's mother was puzzled, then said, that girl in the cheongsam must be good friends with the one who's throwing herself at your son, right? Probably, Wang Ming nodded. So young and dressed so flirtatiously, you can tell she's no good. Dressing up in a cheongsam. Does she think she's in a TV drama or something? Xianxia's mother continued, a young girl looking good, with a nice figure, looks good in anything. Wang Ming took a sip of tea. People's hearts are like their bellies. Who knows what kind of person she really is? That Li Ronghua too, really? Hanging out with that kind of person, eating food together, isn't she afraid of losing Wenhua's face? When she comes over, I have to give her a good lecture. Xianxia's mother said, by the way, wasn't there a rumor last time that your Wenhua had found a suitable girlfriend from a matching family? Why is this girl still clinging on to Wenhua? Wang Ming snorted softly, shameless. Just watch, Xianxia's mom, when she sees me later, just watch how she'll try to please me, asking me to persuade Wenhua to get back together with her. Xianxia's mother nodded. The more Wang Ming thought about it, the more smug she felt, and she quickly finished a glass of water. Zhou Xiuzhen approached the two. Sister-in-law. And Ai Yang was taken aback for a moment, then looked up at Li Ronghua. Seeing the Zhou family again made Li Ronghua's complexion change. Before she could speak, Zhou Xiuzhen reached for the roasted chicken leg on the plate. Li Ronghua was so stingy. Hiding here, eating roasted chicken legs all by herself. Was she not afraid of offending her future sister-in-law? She hadn't had meat in such a long time. She was really craving it. Luckily, she ran into Li Ronghua here. Just as Zhou Xiaoshen's hand was reaching for the roasted chicken leg, it was picked up by Li Ronghua, leaving Zhou Xiuzhen grabbing at nothing. She looked at Li Ronghua puzzled. Sister-in-law, what are you doing? Li Ronghua said calmly, I'm not your sister-in-law. I've already broken up with Zhou Wenhua. If you want to eat a roasted chicken leg, let Su Ziqin buy it for you. Zhou Xiuzhen felt as if she had heard the biggest joke. Break up? Li Ronghua would break up with Zhou Wenhua? How could that be possible? Who didn't know how much Li Ronghua loved Zhou Wenhua, to the point of death and life? Li Ronghua, what kind of fit are you throwing? Zhou Xiuzhen couldn't even bother to pretend. Was it my brother who dumped you, and you're angry about it? Don't worry, as long as you have me, your future sister-in-law here, I will definitely persuade my brother to change his mind. Although you're uneducated, not as pretty as Zijin, and from a less distinguished family than Zijin. But after all, you've been with my brother for so many years, if not for contributions then for the hard work. Rest assured, I will definitely speak well of you to my brother and persuade him not to dump you. Now, hand over the roasted chicken leg, I want to eat it. Oh, and I'm out of money, give me some spending money. Chapter 611, Not Your Typical Grandpa, The Proposing Shangguan Dehui. _5. The Zhou family had become accustomed to treating Li Ronghua like a fool. They also took Li Ronghua's contributions for granted. Li Ronghua sneered. So, the old her could be bullied by even a 13-year-old child. Apparently, she was even more inferior to a 13-year-old. Li Ronghua's hands, holding the plate, were trembling. Besides anger, there was only anger in her heart. She wasn't sure how to react. And Ai Yang gave a slight smile, turning her eyes to Zhou Xiuzhen. Little girl, you're not young either. Your understanding should be fine, right? Sister Ronghua has made it so clear. Do you still want to bring shame on yourself here? Zhou Xiuzhen, although young, blurted out in her anger, Li Ronghua, the type that throws herself at people and ends up owing them favors, how could she possibly decide to break up with my brother? My brother is a university graduate. She is just an illiterate who only graduated from elementary school. And Yang couldn't figure out what kind of family could raise such a child. Though Zhou Xiuzhen was young, every word she uttered was cutting and extremely unpleasant to hear. And Yang wasn't a saint, and she certainly wouldn't hold back on pointing out Zhou Xiuzhen's flaws just because she was young. If you don't prune a young tree, it would not grow straight. A naughty child deserved to be disciplined. Go to Wuxia world. Sight and Yang gave a slight smile, picked up the last chicken leg from the plate and threw it in front of the stray dog beside the table. Little girl, do you see that? Sister Ronghua would rather give this chicken leg to a stray dog than to you. Also, as for your brother, even if he begged Ronghua, she would not even spare him a glance. Watching her beloved chicken leg being thrown away and gulped down by a stray dog in a few bites, Xiuzhen couldn't stand it anymore and burst into tears. If Zhou Xiuzhen had started crying in the past, Li Ronghua would have been terrified and hurried to comfort her immediately. Zhou Xiuzhen exactly had this in mind. As Li Ronghua's future sister-in-law, would Li Ronghua bear to see her cry? Seeing Zhou Xiuzhen crying so sadly, Li Ronghua couldn't help but give her a sympathetic look. When she first met Zhou Xiuzhen, she was only 8 or 9 years old. She had watched Zhou Xiuzhen grow up. And Yang patted Li Ronghua's hand. Li Ronghua immediately put away her sympathy. That's right. The Zhou family did not deserve her sympathy at all. Zhou Xiuzhen, crying and looking at Li Ronghua and seeing that she had no reaction, angrily said, Li Ronghua, you're done for. My mom is here today. I'm going to tell her. I'll make her hate you. I'll make sure you never step foot into our Zhou family's door again. You wait and see. Kids are like that. They love to tattle, and they always say, you just wait. Zhou Xiuzhen ran towards Wang Ming while wiping her tears. Li Ronghua looked at Yang. Yang, let's go. In the end, she still lacked the courage to face the Zhou family. And Yang held Li Rongyang's hand. Sister Rong, don't run away from what you need to face. Moreover, you are not the one in the wrong in this matter. Zhou Xiuzhen actually ran back crying, which was something Wang Ming had not expected at all. In her imagination, Li Ronghua should have come to apologize to her humbly, with 2 roasted ducks in her hands. Unexpectedly, Li Ronghua dared to upset Zhou Xiuzhen. Did she still respect her future mother-in-law? Zhou Xiuzhen vilified Li Ronghua while sobbing, Mom, that bad woman is too much. She threw the chicken leg to a stray dog, not even giving me a bite. Wang Ming was busy comforting Zhou Xiuzhen. Xiuzhen, don't cry. I will take you to that wretched girl. I will make her buy 10 roasted chicken legs for you. I will make her apologize to you. Really? Zhou Xiuzhen's eyes lit up. Wang Ming said, Of course it's true. Would that wretched girl dare not listen to me? Let's go. Then I won't get involved. Daqiang's mother chose to avoid it, as this was someone else's family affair, and it wasn't appropriate for her to intervene. But Wang Ming, intent on showing Daqiang's mother how she hustles, how awesome her son was, wouldn't let her leave at this point. Wang Ming pulled Daqiang's mother. Daqiang's mother, don't leave. Come with me. Let's see how I discipline that wretched girl. You are about to have a future daughter-in-law yourself. You can learn from me how to be a mother-in-law. Okay then. Daqiang's mother had no choice but to trail after Wang Ming. The 3 of them walked towards Li Ronghua. Wang Ming said with satisfaction, Daqiang's mother, in a while, you can see what a bootlicker that wretched girl is. She'll do anything to be with my cultured son. Even if she were asked to eat shit, she would do it without hesitation. Chapter 612. Not just any grandpa, the proposing Shangguan Dehui. _6. Li Ronghua is just that low. Who asked for their son to be so capable? Wang Ming, striding confidently while leading Zhou Xiuzhen, arrived in front of Li Ronghua. She didn't speak. Because she knew, Li Ronghua would definitely have his face set in a frown, take the initiative to call her auntie, and then she would give her a good scolding. Let Daqiang's mom see just how graceful she really is. But what Wang Ming didn't expect was, Li Ronghua acted as if he didn't see her coming, still chatting and laughing with Yang at his side. So bold. This Li Ronghua is really so bold. How dare he ignore her like this? But Li Ronghua probably wasn't that bold. Maybe he just didn't see her coming. Wang Ming straightened her back and coughed loudly. Now Li Ronghua should have heard, right? Go to Wuxia world. Sight next, she would see Li Ronghua's submissive demeanor. Wang Ming held her head high, extremely proud of herself. After waiting a little while, Xianxia's mom was starting to feel a bit awkward, but Li Ronghua still had no reaction. Xianxia's mom glanced at Wang Ming, her eyes extremely complex, making Wang Ming's face feel a little difficult to sustain. What exactly is going on with Li Ronghua today? Wang Ming didn't wait any longer and spoke up directly. Li Ronghua, what's with you? Didn't you see Xiuzhen and I coming? Sitting there like a statue. And what's this about not giving Xiuzhen chicken legs to eat? You better hurry up and apologize to Xiuzhen, and then go buy 10 chicken legs for her. Wang Ming spoke righteously as if Li Ronghua owed her something. Only then did Li Ronghua stop talking, turning his head to look at Wang Ming. Lady, do you have any manners at all? Am I familiar with you? You're shouting here like no one else is around. At your age, I would expect better. How can you act so uneducated? Also, the chicken legs I bought, if I want to feed them to a dog, I'll feed them to a dog. Why should I feed them to someone who's worse than a dog? Wang Ming was dumbfounded. She never expected Li Ronghua to talk to her like this. Is this an illusion? Shouldn't Li Ronghua be apologizing to her on his knees, admitting his fault? What on earth is going on? Xianxia's mom was also a bit baffled. This was not what Wang Ming had described. This girl had spirit and character. How could she seem so desperate? Li Ronghua, look carefully at who I am. How dare you speak to me like that? Do you still want to be with my son or not? Wang Ming brought out her last trump card, knowing Li Ronghua couldn't live without Zhou Wenhua. When it comes to Zhou Wenhua, Li Ronghua would do anything shameless. Your son? Li Ronghua scoffed. That freeloader of a son you have, even if he throws himself at me, I wouldn't want him. Since I've bumped into you today, please go back and pass the message to your son. Tell him to repay the money as soon as possible. Save me the trouble of finding him at his school and sparing him some embarrassment. At the last sentence, Li Ronghua glanced nervously at Ni Yang. He saw Ni Yang giving him an encouraging look. Li Ronghua instantly calmed down. Thank goodness Ni Yang was here today, or else he really wouldn't know how to deal with the situation. Wang Ming's entire face turned white with rage, cursing out loud, You little slut! A cheap tramp who pays her way. When has my son ever owed you money? What on earth is going on with Li Ronghua today? Is he possessed? Wang Ming was both angry and panicked. Although Zhou Wenhua had told her a month ago that he had broken up with Li Ronghua, Wang Ming hadn't taken it to heart. In her mind, Li Ronghua surely couldn't bear to leave her son. That's why she was so bold in seeking out Li Ronghua. She hadn't thought. Reality dealt her a heavy blow. Li Ronghua took out an IOU from her bag. Just because your son has lived off me for so many years, do you think he doesn't need to repay? Do you see this? It's written here in black and white. All right, there's even your son's fingerprint here. If you don't believe it, you can always call the police. Let them handle it. The instant Wang Ming saw the IOU, she was scared. She was truly scared this time. Of course, she knew Zhou Wenhua had been mooching off Li Ronghua all these years, but she didn't know that Zhou Wenhua had actually written an IOU. When was this IOU written? 1,000 yuan. How could her family repay this? With this thought, Wang Ming's face stiffened as she sarcastically looked at Li Ronghua. Ronghua, we're all family here. What's all this talk about repaying debts? So impersonal. Did you upset Wenhua again? Don't worry, as long as Auntie's here, Wenhua won't dare get mad at you. You're the daughter-in-law I've agreed on in my heart. Come on, give the IOU back to Auntie. They'll keep it safe for you. Chapter 613, Not the Common Grandpa, Shangguan Dehui who proposed. _7 Wang Ming's face changed as quickly as turning a page in a book. She gave off completely different vibes at the start and at the end. This time, Li Ronghua wouldn't be fooled again. Hell no. Who said we're a family? Go back and tell your son, if he doesn't pay back the money, the whole school will know he is a freeloader. Xianxia's mom's face looked particularly interesting. She had thought that Zhou Wenhua was a capable man. that he could even attract young girls to take care of his expenses. Turned out he's just a scam artist. A college student at that. So embarrassing. Daqiang's mom glances at Wang Ming. When was Mom? I have something else to attend to, so I'll take my leave and go back first. The surrounding crowd looked interestingly at Wang Ming while chattering about her. A freeloading man. What a disturbing reputation. Wang Ming is a face-conscious person, and under this circumstance, all her face was lost. She immediately grabbed onto Zhou Xiuzhen and made their way through the crowd to leave. Go to Wuxia World. Sight looking just like a lost dog. Zhou Xiuzhen was still insisting on having roasted chicken legs and had no intention of leaving. Mom, you lied to me. Didn't you say that Li Ronghua would buy me 10 roasted chicken legs? She still didn't understand what was going on. How could Li Ronghua turn hostile just like that? All you know is to eat. Will eating lead you to death? You lazy bum. Wang Ming slapped Zhou Xiuzhen right across the face. Stunned by the slap, Zhou Xiuzhen covered her face. She didn't even dare to cry out loud and quietly followed behind Wang Ming. How upset Wang Ming felt. She didn't gain the upper hand, became a laughingstock in front of Daqiang's mom, and ended up with a debt of 1,000 yuan. When did Li Ronghua, the fool, become so smart? How capable her son is. Just wait for it. Li Ronghua will have regrets one day. Wang Ming consoled herself inwardly. After Wang Ming and Zhou Xiuzhen left, Li Ronghua turned to look at Yen. Yang, thanks. I'm really grateful for your help today. The words she used to confront Wang Ming were taught by Yen. If she had to face Wang Ming and Zhou Xiuzhen alone, she wouldn't know where to start or what to say. Yen smiled and said, It's okay. Sister Ronghua, you performed really well today. If you run into them in the future, that's the way to confront them. There's no need to be polite with such people. Li Ronghua nodded. After they finished their meal, they prepared to head back. As they were on their way to the station, a luxurious car came to a stop beside them. The car window was rolled down slowly, revealing a handsome face. It was Wu Daming, sister-in-law. Wu Daming. Yen looked at him with surprise. Didn't your friend mention you were out of town? How come you're back so soon? Wu Daming responded, I just got back today. By the way, sister-in-law, where are you and this older sister heading to? I can give you a ride. Yen politely declined with a smile. It's okay, we're just going to take the tram back. Wu Daming, anyway, I'm free. If my elder brother finds out that I saw you but let you return by tram, he'll definitely break my legs. Yen gave a slight smile. Rest assured, I promise not to tell him. Sister-in-law, just get in. I've got nothing to do today anyway. Wu Daming hopped out of the car and opened the door for Yen. Since Wu Daming had already spoken up to this point, if Yen were to reject his offer further, it would seem like she was being pretentious. Yen and Li Ronghua took a seat in the back. Seeing a bit of dust on the dashboard, Wu Daming turned his head towards Li Ronghua. Could you pass me the duster from the back seat? Li Ronghua reached out, grabbed the duster, and handed it to Wu Daming. Here you go, Grandpa. What? Wu Daming was taken aback and asked, What did you call me? Grandpa. He's in his prime, how can he be a grandpa so soon? Grandpa. You called me older sister, so why can't I call you Grandpa? Li Ronghua looked at Wu Daming. Wu Daming pointed at himself, was so excited that he lost his words. Am I that old? He was still unmarried this year. Am I that old? Li Ronghua glared at him. You actually had the nerve to call me older sister. Wu Daming seemed all right with his decent appearance. And he was so bad at talking. I'm 23 this year. Wu Daming declared his age. Li Ronghua was almost pissed off. A man who was merely a year older than her was calling her older sister. Seeing that the argument was about to escalate, Yen smiled and said, Daming, Sister Ronghua is 22 this year. Wu Daming shrugged. She looks too mature for her age. Yen. Now she finally knew why Wu Daming, despite being mature, still couldn't find a girlfriend. This wasn't just some straight talker. This was a straight talker with a drill. Li Ronghua leaned back on the seat, turned her head, and ignored Wu Daming. Wu Daming involuntarily rubbed his head. This woman is really weird. And she's mad now. Whoever marries her will have rotten luck for 100 generations. He knew he shouldn't have saved her that night. As the car sped along the highway, after a while, Wu Daming, as if remembering something, blurted out, "All right, sister-in-law, thanks for the birthday gift." When he received the birthday gift from Ni Yen, Wu Daming was astounded. He never thought that Ni Yen would remember his birthday after he had casually mentioned it that day, let alone buying him the Nikon FM2 camera that he had always wanted. Sister-in-law is indeed his true sister-in-law. Ni Yen laughed and said, "You're welcome. By the way, do you know Brother Mo's birthday?" "Of course." Wu Daming continued, "My elder brother's birthday is on November 14th of the lunar calendar. Are you preparing a gift for him?" Ni Yen nodded. "Promise me to keep it a secret." Wu Daming nodded hastily. I understand it all. How romantic." In this era, romantic was a popular term. It means to be romantic. At the same time, in a cafe in Beijing, sitting across from Shangguan Dehui were Ni Zihua and little Ni Yun. Shangguan Dehui had initially assumed that he would face communication barriers with Ni Zihua, considering she had grown up in a village and had never gone to school. But to his surprise, Ni Zihua was just as knowledgeable as he was. There was no communication barrier between them at all. Daya. Shangguan Dehui held the prepared red velvet box in his hand hesitatingly and finally broke the silence. "What is it?" Ni Zihua looked up at Shangguan Dehui. Shangguan Dehui felt his palms were getting sweaty, and the prepared words slipped from his mind. His breathing started growing dense. "Daya?" Ni Zihua put down her cup and laughed. "What's up? You can tell me." Shangguan Dehui gritted his teeth, collected all his nervousness, and set the red velvet box in front of Ni Zihua. "Daya, please give me a chance to take care of you." Chapter 6:14. Agreed to be together, visiting parents, guests who have come from afar. _1 There was a diamond ring in the red velvet box. Under the light, the diamond ring dazzled with blinding brilliance. Gathering his courage, Shangguan Dehui stood up from the chair and knelt on one knee. "Comrade Daya, Chairman Mao said that any courtship which doesn't lead to marriage is hooliganism. I heard that young people nowadays propose on their knees, so please allow me the opportunity to take care of you." Shangguan Dehui was very nervous. Holding the diamond ring, his hand was trembling. Ni Zihua was stunned, her mind blank. She had not expected Shangguan Dehui to make such a move. Was he proposing marriage? Ni Zihua had never experienced something like this in her life. In her earlier years, she did not even have a decent wedding ceremony. Now she had a surprisingly ceremonious marriage proposal in front of her. Looking at Shangguan Dehui kneeling on the ground, Ni Zihua's eyelids turned a bit red. Her heart was beating rapidly. She wasn't made of wood. Through their time together and their meeting in their youth, she had indeed developed unusual affection for Shangguan Dehui. But could she accept Shangguan Dehui's proposal? Go to Wuxia world. Sight she knew that Shangguan Dehui came from a distinguished family and was a university professor with superior family conditions. But she didn't even have a primary school graduation certificate. The disparity between them was too great. And Ni Yang, she hadn't communicated with him about this. Would Ni Yang agree? Then there was little Ni Yun, he was still so young. Although Shangguan Dehui would accept little Ni Yun, would Shangguan Dehui's family accept her? At Ni Zihua's age, it wasn't that if they had love they could be together. She had many issues to consider. For a moment, Ni Zihua felt caught between a rock and a hard place. Daya, you should trust in me. I promise to treat you well in the future." Shangguan Dehui seemed to see Ni Zihua's hesitation and continued, "As for Yang, she agrees with us being together. As for my family and my children, they absolutely will not interfere with my personal feelings." Madame Shangguan was not an unreasonable person. And both Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi were good children. Shangguan Dehui was confident that he could give Ni Zihua a happy life. Upon hearing his words, Ni Zihua was startled. "Yang Shi?" Shangguan Dehui continued to explain, "I talked to her a month ago. Yang is a good child. She said she hopes you are happy. She does not oppose us being together." Therefore, you should not have any psychological burden, leave all the problems to me. We have already missed the first half of our lives, I do not want to miss the second half as well. Ni Tsuehua didn't expect that Shangguan Dehui had already discussed this matter with Ni Yang. Knowing that Ni Yang did not object, she felt much more relaxed. Shangguan Dehui was a very good man. He treated her well and was good to both Ni Yang and little Ni Yun. In her youth, Ni Tsuehua didn't know what love felt like. She didn't expect to experience the flavor of love at middle age. However, would the huge difference between them really be no problem? Ni Tsuehua looked at Shangguan Dehui, her hands tightly clasped together, and began speaking seriously. Comrade Shangguan Dehui, do you know my personal situation? Shangguan Dehui didn't react for a moment. Ni Tsuehua continued, I was born in the countryside. I have no education, I haven't even stepped half a foot into a school. A year ago, I couldn't even recognize half a word. Regarding her past, Ni Tsuehua didn't want to hide anything. If it was black, it was black. If it was white, it was white. I know all of it. Shangguan Dehui continued, Daya, during this time together, I haven't felt that there are any language barriers between us. You are a very excellent person. If you were to ask me, it's me who isn't worthy of you. I hope you'll seriously consider our feelings. In life, you only get one shot. If we miss this chance, I fear we may only see each other in the next life. He was not the cowherd, and Anahua was not the weaver girl. Their relationship didn't span across the Milky Way, and there were no heavenly laws or the Queen Mother impeding them. With peace and stability in this age, lovers should consummate their love. Ni Tsuehua bit her lip. She was hesitating. She was scared. At this moment, a small white hand reached out and picked up the diamond ring from the velvet box. Mommy, wear it. Ni Yang had previously bought a gold ring for Ni Tsuehua, and little Ni Yun often held it to help Ni Tsuehua wear it, even playing with it as a toy. So, she was familiar with rings. Chapter 6:15. Agreed to be together, visit parents, guests from afar. _2. Ni Tsuehua didn't expect little Ni Yun to suddenly pick up the ring, let alone, that ring was accurately put on her finger. Seeing the ring on Ni Tsuehua's hand, little Ni Yun started to laugh happily. Pretty. Pretty. The happy ones were not only little Ni Yun, but also Shangguan Dehui. He lifted his head and looked at Ni Tsuehua seriously. Comrade Daya, consider this as your agreement. Ni Tsuehua's face turned red for a moment. You should get up first. The restaurant. Ni Tsuehua was about to say that there were many people in the restaurant and it would bother them, but when she looked up, to her surprise, the restaurant was completely empty. Except for their table, there were no other guests. Ni Tsuehua was not aware that Shangguan Dehui had booked the entire restaurant for the successful proposal. Shangguan Dehui was overjoyed. He couldn't restrain his inner wild selves and lifted Ni Tsuehua up. Daya, tell me, I am not dreaming. Ni Tsuehua exclaimed, quickly put me down. Unlike Shangguan Dehui, Ni Tsuehua was always a very conservative person. Even though she had previous experiences in M country, when she was the subject of the situation, she still felt a little embarrassed. Although Beijing was very open at this time and many young couples holding hands could be seen on the street, hugging like this was still quite rare. Fearing to scare her again, Shangguan Dehui let go of her. Comrade Daya, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Ni Tsuehua slipped off the ring. I can't accept this ring for now, it's too valuable. Go to Wuxia world. Sight in the countryside, only when engaged would such a valuable gift be given. She and Shangguan Dehui hadn't met their parents yet. Accepting such a valuable thing from him made Ni Tsuehua a little uneasy. Shangguan Dehui said, keep it. The diamond ring is a promise, a testament, a commemoration, and a witness to our feelings. It's too valuable. Ni Tsuehua was a little hesitant. Shangguan Dehui put the ring back on Ni Tsuehua's hand. What's valuable or not, we're going to be family sooner or later anyway. Ni Tsuehua, it hadn't started yet, but she already felt a little overwhelmed by Shangguan Dehui. After eating, Shangguan Dehui took Ni Tsuehua and little Ni Yun to watch a movie. Afterwards, they went to the amusement park. The amusement park at this time didn't have as many amusements as in the later ages. There were only some simple facilities inside, such as slides, seesaws, carousels, etc. Little Yun slid down and climbed up the slide, playing very happily. Hua stood outside the barrier. Yun, be careful. There were many people around, but her hand was quietly held by someone. Hua was initially startled, and then she turned her head to see Shengguan Dihui's face. The three of them played outside until after 5 in the evening when Shengguan Dihui drove Hua home. When Shengguan Dihui returned to the Shengguan family, it was already after 7 in the evening. When he returned, the old lady Shengguan was still sitting in the dining room waiting for him to have dinner. "Mom, you don't have to wait for me to come back for dinner in the future." Shengguan Dihui sat down in a good mood. Old lady Shengguan laughed. "It's okay, anyway, Mom doesn't have anything to do when she's alone at home." Shengguan Shi and Shengguan Su had their own jobs, and they seldom came home. Even Shengguan Dihui lived in the school most of the time and only came home on weekends. Today happened to be Saturday, so the old lady Shengguan was waiting for Shengguan Dihui to have dinner together. Old lady Shengguan looked at Shengguan Dihui. "Dihui, what about the thing you told me last time? What happened now?" Shengguan Dihui naturally knew what the old lady Shengguan was referring to, nodded and said, "We have confirmed our relationship now." Old lady Shengguan was surprised. "Really?" Shengguan Dihui nodded. Old lady Shengguan continued, "Where's the girl from? What's her name? What's the situation now?" Shengguan Dihui said, "Mom, you know her too." "I do." Old lady Shengguan was stunned. Shengguan Dihui nodded. Old lady Shengguan's face suddenly turned cold. "Is it Lin Fong?" "It's not her." Shengguan Dihui shook his head. "Then who could it be?" Shengguan Dihui had kept himself clean for years. He never had much contact with any woman. Old lady Shengguan really couldn't guess who it could be. "Who is it? Don't keep your mother in suspense." Chapter 616. Agreed to be together, meet the parents, guests from afar. _3. "It's Daya," Shengguan Dihui answered. Upon hearing this, a momentary silence filled the air. After a short pause, Lady Shengguan asked, "Dihui, you're not joking with me, are you?" Years ago, Shengguan Dihui had been driven to the brink of madness in his search for Daya, his love at first sight. It was only after Lady Shengguan stepped in, threatening Shengguan Dihui with her life, that he finally agreed to marry Su Fun, who was from a family of equal social standing. After his marriage, Shengguan Dihui had completely changed. Withdrawing his wild habits, he devoted himself to his studies and successfully completed his postgraduate and doctoral studies, even becoming a professor. So, Lady Shengguan had no particular fondness for Daya, whom she had never met. If it hadn't been for Daya, they, mother and son, might have been driven to a complete break. For a moment, Lady Shengguan even believed that Shengguan Dihui was purposely trying to provoke her. "I have indeed found Daya," Shengguan Dihui said with a serious expression. Lady Shengguan put down her chopsticks. "Even if you have found Daya, so many years have passed. She's probably married by now. You're not considering breaking up her family, are you?" "Absolutely not. I won't allow it. The Shengguan family is prestigious. Shengguan Dihui is the head of the family, and he can't possibly consider breaking up someone else's family." "Mother, don't worry. Like me, Daya is currently single," Shengguan Dihui replied. "Go to Wuxia world." "Sight really?" Lady Shengguan expressed her doubt. "Really?" Shengguan Dihui nodded. "So what's her current situation?" Shengguan Dihui went on to say, "Her name's Ni. She's 37 this year. She divorced her husband a year ago and is now raising 2 children. The elder daughter is 18 years old. The younger is 1 year and 5 months. The younger daughter is that young. So, does she have any connection left with her husband?" Lady Shengguan continued to question. "You don't need to worry about that. There is no contact between them at all," Shengguan Dihui replied. Lady Shengguan kept her opinions to herself for the time being. "What about her family? What do they do?" "Their background is very clean. They are farmers by birth and are now running their own business in the city. In this era, being a farmer is the most transparent background. And Lady Xianxia doesn't have any prejudice towards those who run their own business. As long they earn their living honestly and don't indulge in theft or robbery, there's nothing disgraceful about it. Living by their own means is excellent. I just don't know whether Xiaoxiu and Xiaoxi would accept a sister who is 20 years younger than them. The main issue is that the child is too young. That means Ni Zuihua was already divorced from her husband while still in confinement. What on earth must have happened in a family to make a woman decide to divorce while she was still in confinement? And Ni Zuihua is a woman from the countryside. Shengguan Dehui added, Xiaoxiu and Xiaoxi are good children. You don't have to worry about them. When did you meet Daya? Lady Shengguan continued her inquiry. A little over a month ago on the mountain trip. Daya was the one who saved me. What? The words took Lady Shengguan by surprise. Yes, she was the one who saved me. Shengguan Dehui nodded and confirmed. Lady Shengguan said, if that's the case, I won't interfere with your relationship anymore. When you have the time, bring her home so that we can all have a look at her. If she's suitable, you should set the wedding date as soon as possible. Both of you are not getting any younger. Children and grandchildren have their own karma. If she interfered too much, she would only become annoying. As long as the woman's character is better than Lin Fang's, that's good enough. She had already had a fight with Shengguan Dehui over Daya once before. If she made a fuss about it again, she was afraid she might completely lose this son of hers. Shengguan Dehui nodded. All right. I'll discuss it with her. After Ni Zuihua returned, she immediately told Ni Yang about the proposal. Upon hearing this, Ni Yang hugged Ni Zuihua. Mom, I want you to be happy. If Uncle Shengguan can bring you happiness, then I will support your relationship. Yang, Ni Zuihua hugged Ni Yang, choking with emotion. Thank you. It must have been the good deeds of her past life that allowed her to have such an understanding daughter like Ni Yang. At dinner, Ni Chengge, who was sitting beside Ni Zuihua, was the first to notice the diamond ring on her hand. Mother Ni, are you going to have a good news soon? A blush crawled onto Ni Kuihua's face. Sister Cheng, Ni Chengge laughed and said, what's so embarrassing about getting married? It's a normal thing. When are you planning to hold the wedding banquet? Chapter 617. Agreed to be together, visiting parents, guests who have come from afar. _4. At this, Ni Zuihua became even more embarrassed. Ni Chengge then said, Yang's mom, honestly, you and Shengguan Dehui are perfect for each other. I've known for a long time that you two would get together one day. Perhaps it was truly fate. The first time she saw Shengguan Dehui, she felt he and Ni Zuihua inexplicably matched very well. Ni Zuihua said, Sister Chengge, if you come across someone suitable, you can also. Ni Chengge took a sip of her soup. I haven't encountered anyone suitable, right? If there is someone suitable around you, you could also introduce me. She truly considered Ni Zuihua as a sister, so her words were heartfelt. Ni Zuihua nodded in agreement. The Shengguan family. The old lady Shengguan was watering the flowers in the garden. Shengguan Furong came over, taking the watering can from her mother's hand. Mom, what's the matter with you today? In a bad mood? No. Old lady Shengguan shook her head in denial. Shengguan Furong continued, are you worried about my brother's situation? Go to Wuxia world. Sight as soon as the words fell, Shengguan Furong added, Mom, actually Lin Fang is really nice. The incident last time was just a misunderstanding. Why must you stick to it? My brother finally found someone he likes. Why break them up? These days, Shengguan Furong had met with Lin Fang quite a few times. Her impression of Lin Fang and her daughter was actually quite good. The key was Lin Fang was easy to handle and presentable. She won't bring disgrace to the Shengguan family, nor disgrace to her. Old lady Shengguan glanced at Shengguan Furong. You should stop thinking about Lin Fang. Why? Old lady Shengguan said, because your brother already has someone. Shengguan Furong was so startled that the watering can dropped from her hand. Mom, you're not joking with me, right? My brother has someone so quickly? Who introduced them? How come I didn't hear a thing? When introducing Lin Fang to Shengguan Dehui, old lady Shengguan had once asked for her opinion. Now this was great. She was completely bypassed. This made Shangguan Furong feel somewhat unable to cope, temporarily. Old Lady Shangguan laughed. Not just you. I also found out yesterday. Shangguan Furong went on to ask, who is she? Do I know her? What's her family's situation? It's Daya. Old Lady Shangguan turned to look at Shangguan Furong. Furong, Daya has returned. Daya? Shangguan Furong asked in disbelief. Mom, is it that Daya? Old Lady Shangguan nodded. Daya had actually returned. After so many years. Shangguan Furong never dreamed that she would actually see the woman of Shangguan Dihui's dreams, whom he yearned for day and night. Since Daya is back, does that mean Lin Fang has no hope? Shangguan Furong asked. Even if Daya didn't come back, Lin Fang would have no hope. Old Lady Shangguan answered, Furong, if you have time, you should pay more attention to Ziqing and Zijuan. Ziqing and Zijuan are the children of Shangguan Furong. Old Lady Shangguan's words were hinting that Shangguan Furong had overstepped her boundaries, but Shangguan Furong was too overwhelmed by the surprise to detect the secondary meaning in Old Lady Shangguan's words. Mom, don't worry, Ziqing and Zijuan are behaving well, said Shangguan Furong. By the way, Mom, what is Daya doing now? If her memory serves her right, Daya was just a simple country girl all those years ago. Old Lady Shangguan said tersely, she divorced her husband over a year ago and is now raising 2 children. The eldest is 18, the youngest is 1 year and 5 months old. According to Dehui, she seems to be running a business in the city. Since she had agreed to their union, everything else she said now was unnecessary. This news made Shangguan Furong explode in shock. What? She has 2 kids? And she is a small business owner. My goodness! Has my brother gone mad? Shangguan Furong is utterly conscious of her face. The fact that her brother's wife is less than reputable caused her extreme discomfort. A small business owner? Doesn't being a small business owner tarnish her glossy image? What's wrong with being a small business owner? Small business owners also make a living by their own efforts. Furong, it's disappointing for someone who has received higher education to have such low level of awareness. And also, children are not burdens. If children are burdens, then what are Xiaoxiu and Xiaoxi? Although Old Lady Shangguan had her reservations about Daya, she made distinctions clear. She did not have anything against the profession of small business owners. Chapter 6:18. Agreed to be together, visiting parents, guests who have come from afar. _5. Self-employed people earn their living with their own skills. They should not be underestimated. When it came to this point, Old Lady Shangguan continued, the last time your brother went on a mountain trip and encountered danger, it was Daya who saved him. Furong, we Shangguan family members should learn to repay kindness. Repaying kindness means pushing my brother out, Shangguan Furong retorted. This is your brother's own decision, retorted Old Lady Shangguan. Mom, don't you dislike Daya either? Why suddenly agree to this? Shangguan Furong continued to question. Old Lady Shangguan had never met Daya before. But considering the big fuss back then, it would be strange if Old Lady Shangguan actually liked Daya. She remembered a phrase that Old Lady Shangguan used to utter, a pretty woman often makes trouble. Old Lady Shangguan said, forget the past. Moreover, it's Daya who will live with your brother, not me. Why should I step in? She's already in her later years, how many more can she live? Let the young handle their own affairs. Shangguan Furong continued, but we can't leave matters at that. My brother is your own son. How can you watch him sink into a quagmire? I think Daya is not a good woman. A good woman wouldn't casually divorce her husband. And she even wants us to support her 2 burdens. How calculating she is. And besides, nothing is as simple as it seems. When my brother went mountain traveling, how could Daya just happen to rescue him? This could be a trap set up by her. Go to Wuxia world. Sight, she's so scheming. Shangguan Furong's teeth itched from hatred. She had seen too many shameless, scheming women. From Daya's actions, it was clear to her that Daya was one of them. Old Lady Shangguan remained calm. Your brother isn't a fool, he can distinguish good from bad. Don't interfere in this matter. It will only upset your brother. Shangguan Dui wasn't a fool. She hadn't met Daya in person yet and couldn't make assumptions. Just because she disliked Daya a little, it didn't mean she could simply speculate that Daya was a bad person. Shangguan Furong's face darkened. My brother is bewitched by that woman, there's no way he can see clearly. Old Lady Shangguan said, hold your tongue. Other families' sisters-in-law promote harmony, but you love stirring up trouble. Can't you behave a little? Your brother is determined to bring her over. Be careful with your words and actions then. The last sentence carried a hint of a warning. When are they coming over? Shangguan Furong's eyes flickered. Probably next Sunday. Shangguan Furong held onto Old Lady Shangguan's arm. Mom, at your age and with distinguished guests on the way, let me handle the arrangements. Furong, what are you up to now? Old Lady Shangguan looked at Shangguan Furong. Smiling, Shangguan Furong said, Mom, what can I do? What else can I do? I just want to receive the guests properly. We just hired some chefs from F country recently. Let them prepare authentic dishes from F country. Daya is just a country bumpkin who hasn't seen the world. She probably wouldn't even know how to use a knife and fork. Even if Shangguan Furong doesn't lift a finger, she can make that yokel retreat. As long as Shangguan Furong doesn't go too far, Old Lady Shangguan won't intervene. The next day, Old Lady Shangguan came for noodles as usual. Though she was preoccupied, the noodles were still delicious. In fact, she came not only for the noodles but also to see Ni Yang and chat with him. She truly likes Ni Yang. Unfortunately, Ni Yang didn't come to the shop today. In fact, Ni Yang hadn't been in the shop for a long time when she was finished with the noodles and aimlessly walking on the street. Just then, a bicycle pulled up next to her. Old lady. Yang. Old Lady Shangguan's face lit up. Yang, where are you going? Ni Yang gave a slight smile. I just came back from the bank and am going to window shop. I plan to buy a dress for my mom. Since he was about to visit the Shangguan family, Ni Yang decided to buy a nice dress for Ni Zuihua. Chapter 619. Agreed to be together, visiting parents, guests who have come from afar. _6. Excitedly, Mrs. Shangguan said, I need to buy some clothes too. Let's go together. Sure. Ni Yang nodded. Ni Yang pushed the cart with Mrs. Shangguan walking alongside her. With concern, Ni Yang said, Ma'am, you looked a bit off color earlier. Have you been worried about something lately? Laughing, Mrs. Shangguan shook her head. What could I possibly worry about? It's just that I've been having some trouble sleeping recently. And there was a bit of anxiety. She was worried that Daya would bring trouble to the Shangguan family for not having good character. After all, what Shangguan Furong said made sense. Why would the person who saved them become Daya? Hearing this, Ni Yang pulled out a blue pill bottle from her bag. I have these calming pills. Just smell them before you sleep and you'll fall asleep immediately, without any dreams. You should try it. Really? Mrs. Shangguan was a bit surprised. Of course. Ni Yang nodded and said with a smile, Don't you always call me Divine Doctor? Would I ever deceive you? Yang, thank you. What a good child Yang is. Why couldn't she be her granddaughter? You're welcome. Go to Wuxia World. Sight the two arrived at Clothing City. Ni Yang first selected an outfit for Mrs. Shangguan, then picked a trendy but elegant and dignified outfit for Ni Zuihua, which suits her temperament perfectly. After all, it's their first meeting, she should make a good impression on the elders. Yang, is this outfit for your mom? Mrs. Shangguan asked. Yes. Ni Yang nodded. From the outfit that Ni Yang picked, it's clear that her mom must also be a beauty with great temperament, and most importantly, she must have a good character to raise such an excellent daughter as Ni Yang. The best daughter-in-law and granddaughter always belong to other people's families. Your mom is really lucky to have such a filial daughter like you. Mrs. Shangguan sighed. With a slight smile, Ni Yang said, My mom gave me life. Without her there's no me. It's only right that I should be filial to her. Filial piety is the most important of all virtues. Mrs. Shangguan nodded. She looked at Ni Yang with full admiration. What good upbringing. Ni Yang's upbringing is really good. After buying the clothes, the two left Clothing City. They happened to run into a middle-aged woman taking her 2 kids out. "Stop crying. You're bringing us bad luck. Your younger brother is smaller than you, can't you give him a break?" The girl was probably around 10 years old, and the boy was around 7 or 8. "I want new clothes too," the middle-aged woman said. "When your sister can't wear her clothes anymore, then you can." While rubbing her eyes, the little girl said, "Why does my brother get new clothes? Why doesn't my brother have to wear other people's old clothes?" "Because he's your younger brother. And you're his elder sister," the middle-aged woman said fiercely. "You're so big now and still don't understand anything. If you keep this up, watch out, I will hit you." "Mom, I want to eat candied hawthorn." The little boy tugged at the middle-aged woman's hand. The woman's expression softened instantly. All right. Mom will buy it for you." The little girl looked at the boy enviously, but her mother didn't spare her another glance in the end. Watching this scene, Mrs. Shengguan slightly furrowed her brows. Dia wouldn't be that kind of person, would she? Last time when she came to Clothing City, she saw Lin Fang's true colors. Could what she's seeing now be Dia? Mrs. Shengguan was a bit frightened. She had even forgotten that Dia had 2 daughters. With a heavy heart, Mrs. Shengguan returned home. The Ni family. As soon as Ni Yang left, a blonde, blue-eyed foreigner arrived at their home. Due to the language barrier, she took quite some time to find Ni Yang's house. The villagers had never seen a foreigner, so now they all gathered in front of the courtyard of Ni's house to watch the excitement. Yang Yang's mom, come out. Someone's looking for your daughter Yang. The visitor was none other than Emily's mother, Anne. Although Annie could not speak Chinese, she had the note given to her by Ni Yang. By showing the note to everyone, they all understood. "Here we are." Ni Cuihua came out from the inner room with Xiaonie. Seeing that it was the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Annie, she was a little taken aback. "Hello, is Ni Yang at home?" Ni Cuihua was startled at first, then she realized that she could actually understand what Annie was saying. It seemed that her recent study of English was not for nothing. Although Ni Cuihua could understand, the villagers couldn't, so they were all guessing what Annie was saying. Chapter 6:20. Agreed to be together, visiting parents, guests who have come from afar. _7 Engaging in conversation with a person from M country for the first time, Ni Cuihua was slightly nervous. She swallowed and said, "Hello. I am Ni Yang's mother. Do you need Ni Yang for something?" Upon hearing this, Annie was thrilled. She had finally met someone who spoke English. The villagers who were watching from the side were also stunned. No one expected that Ni Cuihua could speak English. Yang's mom is amazing. Yang's mom is really hiding her skills. Oh my God. Yang's mom speaks English so well. Humph. As if you could understand a word of it. The crowd murmured in awe of Ni Cuihua. Annie grabbed Ni Cuihua's hand. "Oh my God. You're Ni Yang's mother? I finally found you. Is Ni Yang at home?" "Ni Yang is not at home right now. Why don't you come in and have a seat?" As she finished, Ni Cuihua looked around at the other people and switched back to Chinese. "All of you come in and have a seat." The crowd declined politely with laughter. They still had work at home. Go to Wuxia World. Sight they were just there to join in the fun, they didn't dare to stay too long. Accompanied by Ni Cuihua, Annie entered the confines of the Ni family household, exclaiming, "What a beautiful yard! Does Ni Yang live here?" Although they had not moved to the new place next door yet, Ni Yang kept Ni Chenggui's yard tidy and looking very nice. Flowers were planted in the yard, and there were stone tables and seats under the osmanthus tree, painting a picturesque scene. Ni Cuihua nodded, made tea, and brought out some snacks for Annie. This was the first time Annie tasted such delicious Chinese food, and drank such fragrant tea. People in M country know very well how to enjoy life and love drinking tea. However, their tea, mostly black tea, is very different from Chinese tea and doesn't taste as good. After all, the Chinese tea ceremony has been passed down for thousands of years. Many say that the Chinese are very barbaric, but the Chinese she met on this trip were all very warm and not as barbaric as rumored. Furthermore, China is developing well, not as backward as she had imagined. Overall, Annie had a very good impression of China. Before long, Ni Yang returned. Annie had seen Ni Yang's photos in Emily's camera before. Upon seeing Ni Yang, she rose from her seat excitedly and said with enthusiasm, "Hello, Ni Yang." Ni Yang remained calm. "I apologize, but may I know who you are?" She felt like she had seen Emily somewhere before, but couldn't recall where. Annie continued, "My name is Annie. I am Emily's mother." Then Ni Yang remembered. Emily looked very similar to Annie. No wonder Annie looked familiar. "Hello, Auntie. Is Emily with you?" Annie shook her head. "No. She didn't come with me. I came alone." Annie would have come earlier, but some matters delayed her, so she only came now. Annie then continued to ask, "Ni Yang, are you the producer of Ice Jade Skin?" "Yes." Ni Yang nodded slightly. Annie excitedly said, "Ni Yang, the effect of your Ice Jade Skin is really good. My friends and I all like to use it very much. Can you sell me a few more sets?" Ni Yang didn't expect Annie to come to buy Ice Jade Skin. This was a surprise. Seems like she didn't give the Ice Jade Skin to the wrong person last time. Ni Yang smiled and said, "Of course. By the way, our factory is just nearby. Would you like me to take you for a visit?" "Really?" Annie was a bit surprised. She just came to buy Ice Jade Skin and didn't expect to have a chance to visit the factory. Ni Yang nodded slightly and made a pleased gesture. "Please follow me." The factory was 2 rows of low buildings, built behind their new house, but currently 1 row was still vacant. The production line was small but very organized. Workers wore sterilized suits and gloves. Disinfecting was necessary when entering and leaving the workshop. Including Ni Yang and Annie, everyone had to put on the sterilized suits before they enter. The workshop had only a dozen workers before, but now it had expanded to 20. The daily production volume was around 6,000 bottles. Ni Yang introduced everything to Annie in fluent English. Annie was stunned. She could hardly believe that China's technology had reached such an incredible level. After leaving the factory, Annie suddenly had an audacious idea. Chapter 621. Agreed to be together, visiting parents, guests who have come from afar. _8 She wants to distribute Ni Yang's products. She plans to introduce Bing Jiu Fu to M country. Such an excellent product would surely be welcomed with open arms in M country. Yet, she still needs to test the market back home. If successful, she would discuss possible cooperation with Ni Yang. With this in mind, Annie proposed, "Ni Yang, could you sell me 30 of these gift box sets?" Upon arriving in China, Annie conducted a small survey and found out that the gift box version of Bing Jiu Fu was a limited edition. Each store could only have a maximum of 200 boxes per month, far below the demand. Therefore, she felt somewhat apprehensive when suggesting buying 30 boxes. Though Bing Jiu Fu was a limited edition, it wouldn't impact the domestic market as Annie intended to introduce it to M country. Additionally, Ni Yang intended to bring Bing Jiu Fu to an overseas market, so he agreed and said, "Sure. That's wonderful." Annie excitedly embraced Ni Yang. "Thank you." The gift box version of Bing Jiu Fu was priced at 268 yuan, about $40, per set. 30 of these sets would cost 8,040 yuan, about $1,220. Because Annie had traveled from afar, Ni Yang even gave her a 10% discount, assuring her that all her future purchases would come with this discount. Of course, Annie was thrilled to enjoy these savings, considering even money couldn't guarantee you this part. Having received her 30 Bing Jiu Fu sets, Annie returned to her country on the overnight flight. Source. Updated on Wuxia World. C0 Ni Yang had a free day today and got up early to accompany Ni Tsuehua to visit the Shangguan family. Soon after they finished breakfast, Shangguan Dehui came to pick them up. Although Ni Tsuehua had already been married once, she couldn't help but feel nervous. She had all sorts of worries. Worrying about meeting a terrible mother-in-law like Mrs. Mu. Furthermore, Shangguan Dehui had a son and a daughter. Would his kids accept her? Could they peacefully coexist with Ni Yang and little Ni Yun? Ni Yang held Ni Kuihua's hand and whispered, "Mom, don't worry. Uncle Shangguan is a good man. His family can't be too bad." Enai Tsuehua nodded. Reassured by Enai Yang, Enai Tsuehua immediately felt more relaxed. At the Shangguan residence, Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi were sitting on the couch. Su Lian and Mrs. Shangguan were chatting. Shangguan Farong was teasing her pet pug. Shangguan Shi looked curiously at Shangguan Farong. Aunt, have you met Aunt Daya? How is she? Shangguan Farong smiled. If your father has taken a liking to her, she can't be bad. She was ready for anything, even if it meant becoming a laughingstock. How absurd, a country bumpkin also thinks she can join the Shangguan family. Shangguan Shi nodded. Oh. Shangguan Farong continued, I heard that your Aunt Daya has a 1-year-old child. Are you excited or not, Shi, about having a little sister? A 1-year-old baby must be cute. Shangguan Shi loved children. My good friend has a 1-year-old sister too, and she's so adorable. Shangguan Shi was talking about little Enai Yun. She had seen little Enai Yun at Enai Yang's noodle shop and really liked her. Shangguan Farong went on vibrantly, Your Aunt Daya is from the countryside. How could she compare with your friend? Have you seen rural children before? Dark and crying frequently, always drooling, with bubbly snot on their noses. How many rural kids can be good-looking? Shangguan Shi felt shivers down her spine listening to this. Ah? Really? Of course, aren't all rural children like that? Shangguan Farong continued, Just let me tell you, Shi, you have to be mentally prepared. You can't dislike your Aunt Daya and future little sister, or else your father will definitely be angry at you. Chapter 622. Slapping Shangguan Farong _1 Shangguan Shi initially held great expectations for Daya, whom she had not yet met, and her future little sister. Being told this by Shangguan Farong, her heart ached terribly. She was a little bit of a neat freak. Aunt, I think you might be exaggerating a bit? Shangguan Shi frowned slightly. Shangguan Farong chuckled. Exaggerating? Wait until you see her in person. Not everyone can be like your Aunt Lin Fong. Beautiful with a career. I'm just giving you a heads up, so you will be prepared. To save you from shocking our esteemed guest later. Su Lian was drinking her tea. Upon hearing this, she set down her cup and chimed in. You can't judge a book by its cover. Lin Fong may shine, but her character is lacking. True beauty lies within the soul. Xiaoxi, don't overthink things, you should trust your father's tastes. Su Lian was also curious as to what kind of woman this Daya was that Shangguan Dehui would pine for her for so long. Back when her sister Su Fan married Shangguan Dehui, Su Lian was completely against it. Because Shangguan Dehui did not love Su Fan. But the younger Su Lian had fallen in love with Shangguan Dehui at first sight and was determined to marry only him. Because of pressure from Lady Shangguan, Shangguan Dehui was reluctantly forced to marry Su Fan. Fortunately, after their marriage, Shangguan Dehui changed for the better. Their marital life was harmonious. Sadly, Su Fan was not fortunate. 2 years after being married to Shangguan Dehui, she passed away. Since then Shangguan Dehui never remarried. Source. Updated on Wuxia World. Said S0 Su Lian knows that Shangguan Dehui still had Daya in his heart. But she never blamed Shangguan Dehui. Because Shangguan Dehui had fulfilled his responsibility towards Su Fan. And raised their 2 children to adulthood. It was about time he found his own happiness. After so many years, it was fate that Shangguan Dehui and Daya could meet again. If not, it would imply that Daya was a rather scheming person. Otherwise, they wouldn't have encountered each other again after so many years. As aunt of Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi, Su Lian would never allow a cunning woman to become their stepmother. But she has not met Daya yet, so it wasn't right to jump to conclusions. Hearing Su Lian speak like this, Shangguan Shi felt a little better, but she was still nervous. If her little sister turned out to be a sloppy kid with a runny nose hanging from her face, she really couldn't stand it. Shangguan Farong laughed and said, Sister Su Lian, you are right, inner beauty is the most beautiful. Daya's heart must be beautiful, otherwise, my brother would not have liked her. After all, my brother is a college professor, and Daya is an illiterate peasant woman who's been herding cattle since she was a child, yet has 2 children of her own. The youngest one had been divorced while she was still in her confinement period after childbirth. Such a person must have a beautiful soul. These words seemed to praise Daya. In fact, they were derogatory. How could a good woman be divorced from her husband during her confinement period? How could an illiterate rural woman be worthy of her brother? After speaking, Shangguan Furong turned to Shangguan Shi. Xiaoxi, you young people always value common language, don't you? I think your dad and your Aunt Daya must have a lot in common. Shangguan Shi opened her mouth, not knowing how to respond to Shangguan Furong. The gap between Aunt Daya and her dad was too big. How could these two people possibly have a common language? That was terrifying. Brother! Shangguan Shi nudged Shangguan Su. He put down the newspaper in his hand. What is it? What's your take on this? As long as Dad is happy. Of course, a good match is also important. He is a bank president. How could his mother be an illiterate who cannot appear in public? It wouldn't sound good if word got out. If Aunt Daya was really uncouth, he wouldn't mind if his father kept her on the side. At this, the worry in Shangguan Furong's heart subsided. It seemed that Shangguan Su also was not satisfied with this Daya. That was great. Lady Shangguan glanced at everyone. She had a plan in mind. The car was fast and soon arrived at the Shangguan residence. The Shangguan mansion was very luxurious, but it was nothing to Enai Zihua, who had seen private jets and castles in M country. If Enai Zihua were still the Enai Zihua who had just arrived in the city a year ago, she would have been stunned by now. Chapter 623, Slapping Shangguan Furong _2. But now, Enai Zihua, beautiful and gracious, her whole body exuding a confident aura, stood with Shangguan Dehui, making Shangguan Dehui seem somewhat mature in comparison. So, broadening one's horizons is indeed a very important thing. Shangguan Dehui, with little Enai Yun in his arms, led Enai Zihua and Enai Yang towards the inside. They encountered many servants greeting them along the way. Although Enai Yang knew that Shangguan Dehui was not an ordinary person, she never thought that the Shangguan family was that rich. They crossed the magnificent front hall and arrived in the living room. As soon as they heard footsteps, the others in the living room seemed somewhat impatient. However, Shangguan Furong was exceptionally calm, petting the pug in her arms with a smile at the corner of her mouth. That Daya is a coarse and vulgar rural woman, wasn't she? Why should they have any expectations for her? Shangguan Su was also calm, flipping through the newspaper in his hand with a half-hearted expression on his face. This way, Shangguan Dehui motioned with one hand while holding little Enai Yun. Enai Zihua and Enai Yang followed him in. Seeing Enai Yang enter, both Madame Shangguan and Shangguan Shi were stunned. Source: updated on Wuxia World. So was Enai Yang here too? They were taken aback for a moment, until Shangguan Dehui said, Mom, Sister, Furong, Xiaoxi, this is Daya. This is Daya's daughter Enai Yang, and this is Daya's youngest daughter Enai Yun. Upon hearing the name Enai Yang, Shangguan Su froze. Was he hallucinating? He looked up and was even more astonished. He never expected that Enai Yang was Daya's daughter. Was he dreaming? Similarly, Madame Shangguan and Shangguan Shi were stunned too. Oh my God! Oh my God! What was going on? Yang, you are Aunt Daya's daughter? Shangguan Shi stood up, walked over to Enai Yang and held her hand. See? Enai Yang was also very surprised. Shangguan Shi laughed and said, He's my dad. Enai Yang had never imagined that Shangguan Dehui and Shangguan Shi were father and daughter. By this logic, Madame Shangguan and Shangguan Dehui were mother and son. This was too much of a coincidence. Madame Shangguan also stood up from her surprise. Yang. Madam. Enai Yang greeted with a smile. Madame Shangguan laughed and said, What, madam? Too formal. You should call me grandma. She had always wanted a granddaughter as sensible and capable as Enai Yang, and she hadn't expected her dream to become a reality today. Shangguan Dehui looked at Shangguan Shi and Madame Shangguan, then at Enai Yang, and said incredulously, Mom, Cici, you know Yang? Madame Shangguan nodded repeatedly, We do know each other. Not only that, but Yang also saved me. Shangguan Dehui was somewhat confused about what was going on. Madame Shangguan explained what happened the day she fainted on the streets of Beijing. So the person who saved my mom was you, Yang. Thank you so much. Madame Shangguan was old, and her heart wasn't very good either. If Ni Yang hadn't come to rescue her in time, they probably wouldn't be seeing Madame Shangguan by now. Shangguan de Hui had initially been worried about whether Madame Shangguan and Ni Yang and her mother could accept each other, but he hadn't expected that they already had this connection. De Hui, is this Daya? Madame Shangguan looked at Ni Hua, next to Shangguan de Hui. Ni Hua smiled and said, "Auntie, I am Daya." Ni Hua was not as Madame Shangguan had imagined her. Madame Shangguan thought Daya should be a heavily made-up vixen, otherwise she wouldn't have occupied Shangguan de Hui's thoughts for so long. But the Daya in front of her was elegant and dignified, beautiful with her own aura, and Madame Shangguan liked her at once. No wonder Ni Yang was so beautiful, she had a beautiful mother. And Ni Yang was so outstanding. If Ni Hua were a person of poor character, she wouldn't have raised Ni Yang so well. For a moment, Madame Shangguan was delighted with Ni Hua. Good. Madame Shangguan held Ni Hua's hand. "Come sit here, this must be little Yun Yun, right? Come let me hold her. Ah, this child is so beautiful." Madame Shangguan took over little Ni Yun from Shangguan de Hui. "Yun Yun, call her grandma." Shangguan de Hui said. "Grandma." Little Ni Yun was very sweet and not fearful of strangers, which made Madame Shangguan very happy. Shangguan Farong watched the scene before her, suddenly bewildered. Chapter 624, Slapping Shangguan Farong _3. What just happened? Isn't it that Madame Shangguan doesn't like Daya? Why is she so warm toward Daya? And also, wasn't Daya just an unsophisticated hick? Why is she dressed so respectfully? The youngest child is also pleasantly chubby, and doesn't have snot bubbles on his nose like the typical rural kid. What on earth is going on? And Daya's oldest daughter, she is just too attractive. She doesn't look like she came from the countryside at all. The worst part is that all three of them do not show any kind of familiarity toward me. Not at all like Lin Fong, who came and showered me with extravagant gifts. If these three really become part of the family, will I still have a say in the Shangguan family? The more Shangguan Farong thinks about it, the more unhappy she becomes. Luckily, she has a backup plan. Source. Updated on. So it will be their turn to be embarrassed soon. Shangguan de Hui brought Ni Hua to Su Lian and Shangguan Farong. "Daya, let me introduce you, this is my sister, also the aunt of Xiaoxiu and Xiaoxi, and this is my sister Farong." Ni Hua has known of the existence of Su Lian for quite some time, so she wasn't surprised. The fact that Shangguan de Hui has cherished and respected Su Lian for so long after the death of his first wife just proves that Shangguan de Hui is a good man, compassionate and righteous. Sister, Farong. Su Lian's first impression of Ni Hua was quite positive. Unlike the last time with Lin Fong, who clearly demonstrated her vulgar manners, Hua maintained her elegant behavior as soon as she entered. There was absolutely nothing wrong with her conduct. "Daya, nice to meet you." Su Lian stood up and initiated a handshake with Ni Hua. Although Shangguan Farong is indignant with Ni Hua, she didn't like to embarrass people on the spot. Besides, this person is a woman who holds a special place in Shangguan de Hui's heart. Pissing off Shangguan de Hui directly wouldn't benefit her in any way. After all, she still has a trump card at hand. She can't wait to see this rustic woman be embarrassed. "Hello." Shangguan de Hui then said, "This is my son Shangguan Su, this is my daughter Shangguan Shi. You can call them Xiaoxiu and Xiaoxi." Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi stood up from the sofa and greeted her proactively. "Hello, Aunt Daya." "Hello." Looking at Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi, Shangguan de Hui said, "No need to introduce Yang Yang to you two, you already know each other." No need. Shangguan Shi interlaced her arm with Ni Yang's, laughing, "Yang Yang and I are already acquainted. Yang, may I give you a tour around our house now?" Shangguan Shi was absolutely thrilled. She never thought that her future sister would be Ni Yang and little Ni Yun. This is a perfect example of birds of a feather flocking together. "Sure." Ni Yang nodded. "Brother, would you like to join us?" Shangguan Shi casually asked Shangguan Su. Unexpectedly, Shangguan Su actually put down the newspaper, saying, "Okay." Xianxia was taken aback for a moment, but didn't say anything further. Want sister? Little Ni Yun reached out towards Ni Yang. Would it be fine if sis she holds you? Xianxia reached out for little Ni Yun. Little Ni Yun seriously considered this, then nodded, okay. Yun Yun is such a good child. Xianxia picked him up and planted a big kiss on his cheek. The group started to head towards the garden, and Madame Xianxia warned, be careful when you play and don't let Yun Yun get hurt. Got it, Grandma. Xianxia Furong, with an iron face, watched Xianxia Su and Xianxia Shi, her nephew and niece. Are they still her own flesh and blood? Being so kind to a stranger. Especially Xianxia Su, initially he was discontented with Daya and her family, but then his attitude changed just like that. Xianxia Su disappointed her big time. While the group was chatting, Su Lian laughed and said, Daya, your skin is so well maintained. What skincare products do you use? And Aitsuehua said, I use Bing Jiu Fu at home. Oh, I also brought a set for you and Furong. And Aitsuehua took out the gift boxes of Bing Jiu Fu products and handed them to Su Lian and Xianxia Furong. Thank you. Su Lian accepted the gift box with both hands and gave an Aitsuehua a red envelope in return. And Aitsuehua immediately refused. Xianxia Dehui intervened at the side. Since it's a gift from sister, you should accept it. It's not just a red envelope. It's also Su Lian's validation of Aitsuehua. Seeing Su Lian's satisfaction with Aitsuehua made Xianxia Dehui very happy. Thank you, sister. Aitsuehua accepted the red envelope. Holding the gift box of Bing Jiu Fu in her hands, Xianxia Furong said, I've been using Bing Jiu Fu's limited edition gift box recently and am their premium member. But how come I've never seen this packaging before? What's inside? Seaweed mask. Rose essential oil? I have never seen these products before. Chapter 625. Slapping Xianxia Furong _. Is this the genuine product? Can someone like Aitsuehua, a rural woman, afford ice skin jade complexion? Keep in mind, a set of genuine ice skin jade complexion costs over 200 yuan. I am not sure if Aitsuehua can even earn that much in a year. Aitsuehua explained with a smile, this is a new model that was just released in September. It hasn't hit the market yet, and probably will be officially on sale in about 3 days. It's also a limited edition. Since it's a gift, it's natural to give something that people can't buy on the market, especially since their family is the manufacturer of ice skin jade complexion. To give common products as gifts wouldn't show sincerity. So, Aitsuehua chose the newly launched model. This new model contains high-grade rose essential oil, which is extremely valuable. Only 125 grams of rose essential oil can be extracted from a ton of roses. Therefore, this limited edition of ice skin jade complexion in new packaging is super expensive. Ni Yang's price is 580 yuan per set, and each store is limited to 30 sets per month. A new model released in September? Upon hearing this, Xianxia Furong had a mocking look in her eyes. This rural woman certainly knows how to boast. Source. Updated on Wuxia World. She even tries to fool her with this counterfeit product. Does she think Xianxia Furong is some poor, gullible relative from the countryside? That's hilarious. Xianxia Furong placed the gift box on the coffee table. I dare not accept such a valuable gift. Moreover, my skin is very sensitive. I've heard that there are many counterfeits on the market now, and my skin is particularly prone to allergies, so please keep this ice skin jade complexion for yourself. Aitsuehua responded with a faint smile. Don't worry, Furong, this is definitely the genuine product. Xianxia Furong replied, Daya, don't be offended by my frankness, but there are many swindlers these days. You are a countrywoman who just came to the city, so I'm worried you might have been conned. Furong. Madame Xianxia warned Furong with a look, then turned to Aitsuehua. Daya, don't listen to her nonsense. She's just not recognizing the value of a golden jade. If she doesn't want it, I'll take it. My skin could use some maintenance too. Daya, you wouldn't mind giving it to me, would you? Aitsuehua isn't silly, she knew that Xianxia Furong didn't like her. If Xianxia Furong chose to be ungrateful, then she shouldn't bother to be so eager to please her. Of course not. If Auntie likes it, then it's yours. Dehui brings out another red gift box. Mom, Daya also prepared a gift for you. What is it? Madame Shengguan took the box. And Ai Tsuehua said, it's a wild ginseng. Yang Yang found it while picking herbs on the mountain. Yang Yang said that stewed soup with this wild ginseng can soothe the mind, calm the spirit, stop palpitations, exorcise evil, brighten eyes, and improve wisdom. It's particularly good for the elderly. Under Yang Yang's guidance, Ai Tsuehua had learned a little bit about medicine. Madame Shengguan was quite happy. Yang Yang is truly a good girl. Daya, you are lucky to have such an excellent granddaughter. That's also true for me, being so fortunate to have such an outstanding granddaughter. For Madame Shengguan, it was like a dream come true. On the side, Furong was so angry that she almost pulled out Peach Blossom's fur. In reaction to Furong's annoyance, Peach Blossom jumped off her and ran away without looking back. Her mother is really dense. How did she get tricked by a rural woman? Wild ginseng? To her eyes, it's just a white radish. If she has to accept this rustic woman as her sister-in-law, she would refuse even 100, 1,000, or 10,000 times over. Shengguan Furong covered her mouth, feigning surprise. One can dig wild ginseng on the mountain? Which mountain? Could you please tell me so I can also go and dig up a basket to give to others? Shengguan Furong indeed intended to embarrass Ai Tsuehua. Ai Tsuehua was just a country bumpkin. Furong was curious about how Ai Tsuehua would respond. Ai Tsuehua replied with a smile, ginseng is incredibly spiritual. Only those with pure intentions will find it. Also, they burrow down to escape when being dug up, so people often tie a red string around them before digging. It's not something anyone can just dig up. If you want to dig up a basketful, Furong, it might be a bit difficult. Shengguan Furong's face turned slightly white. She's a smart woman. How could she not understand the sarcasm in Ai Kuihua's words? Chapter 626, Slapping Shengguan Furong Understood 5. She underestimated this rural woman. What angered Shengguan Furong more was the attitude of Shengguan Dehui and the Shengguan matriarch. One was her real mother, and one was her real brother. They did nothing as they watched her being mocked. The Shengguan matriarch wasn't angry at all. In fact, she was delighted with Ai Kuihua's response. As a daughter-in-law of the Shengguan family, she should indeed be more dominating. A submissive attitude was not in line with the Shengguan family's style. This was how she could shoulder the heavy responsibility of a household's matriarch. Excellent, excellent. She had misunderstood Daya before. Su Lian was also very pleased with Ai Tsuehua. Seeing that no one was coming to her aid, Shengguan Furong stood up from the couch. You guys chat, I'll check on the kitchen. Upon reaching the kitchen, Shengguan Furong specifically ordered the chef to change all of today's dining procedures to Western style. Source: updated on. Ko in the living room, Ai Tsuehua, the Shengguan matriarch, and Su Lian were chatting harmoniously. Their exchanges were barrier-free. Shengguan she took Ai Yang and little Ai Yun around the house. She had even figured out that she wanted to leave that room for Ai Yang and little Ai Yun as their bedroom. Although little Ai Yun was only 1 year old, she weighed 30 pounds because of her sufficient nutrition and was so chubby that her arms were ringed. Shengguan she couldn't carry her after a while, so she let Shengguan Su hold her. Luckily, little Ai Yun also liked this big brother very much. He carried little Ai Yun, running back and forth behind them. Maybe on account of being a leader for a long time, Shengguan Su was somewhat serious and didn't really like children, but today, he was amused by little Ai Yun several times. The truth was, Shengguan Su didn't want to laugh in his heart. But he couldn't help it. Lunch started punctually at 11:30. Shengguan Furong led everyone to the dining room with a beaming smile. The thought of Ai Tsuehua making a fool of herself made her feel very delighted. Come, Sister Daya, please have a seat. Shengguan Furong pulled Ai Tsuehua to sit down. Shengguan she smiled and pulled out a chair for Ai Yang. Come Yang, sit with me here. Let me hold Yunyun. Oh, how I love little Yunyun. The Shengguan matriarch took little Ai Yun from Ai Tsuehua. After everyone was seated, the servants began to set the tableware. Soon after, the F-country chef brought out the delicately cooked Western food. Shangguan Furong graciously tucked the napkin into her collar. "Sister Dia, this Western food was specially prepared to welcome you, made by the F-country chef I invited to our home. Please, eat up, don't hesitate." As soon as she finished saying this, a servant put a bowl of lemon water in front of everyone, and the lemon water even had a few mint leaves floating in it. Shangguan Furong was waiting to see Enai make a fool of herself. She wondered if Enai would mistakenly drink this lemon water. Shangguan Furong had seen quite a few people ignorant of how to eat Western food and embarrass themselves in this way. If Enai did the same today, her first time meeting the parents, the Shangguan matriarch would be furious. The future daughter-in-law of the Shangguan family, not knowing Western dining etiquette, and if this news got out, wouldn't it humiliate the Shangguan matriarch? At that time, Enai would certainly be swept out of the door by the Shangguan matriarch. Just like the treatment of Lin Fong and her daughter. Knowing Shangguan Furong was waiting to see her make a fool of herself, Enai was in no hurry. Coolly she tucked the napkin into her collar, then reached her hand into the silver bowl, slowly washing her hands. She had eaten so much Western food in country and got sick of it. How could Enai possibly not know Western dining etiquette? In addition to this, Enai Yang used to take her to various Japanese restaurants, Western-style restaurants, and H countries' cuisines when they were in their home country. After washing her hands, Enai picked up the knife and fork, elegantly cut a small piece of steak, and put it in her mouth to chew slowly. The whole process was graceful and charming. How was this like a naive rustic woman? Shangguan Furong's smile became forced. Her carefully prepared F-country banquet intended to make Enai embarrass herself failed. Instead, Enai was extremely graceful. Then look at Enai Yang. Even though she was young, her manner of eating was very appealing, even more generous than bona fide socialite. Each of her expressions seemed especially attractive. Sitting next to Shangguan Shi, who was born in an illustrious family, it made Shangguan Shi seem rather ordinary. Even little Enai Yun, who was only a year old, knew to hold a fork in her left hand and a knife in her right hand. A group of country folks, how did they learn to eat Western food? Watching all this transpire before her eyes, Shangguan Furong suddenly felt like she had shot herself in the foot. Chapter 627. Slapping Shangguan Furong _6. It's so unbearable. It's just too unbearable. Shangguan Furong squinted her eyes. No, this won't do. She couldn't just give up this easily, so what if Enai has had Western food? Has she ever eaten snails? Snails require special tools to eat. You can't just take the meat out with a fork and knife. Shangguan Furong composed herself and pushed the plate of agate snails towards Enai. This steak is not seasoned well enough. Dia, try these snails. Generally, country folks haven't eaten snails. Perhaps Enai will be taken aback. Enai smiled slightly, put down her fork and knife, picked up the special utensil for eating snails, elegantly picked up a snail, removed the meat from the shell, cut it piece by piece, dipped a tiny bit of wasabi on it, and put it in her mouth. The taste is quite good. Shangguan Furong was completely defeated this time. She sat in the chair, face pale as a sheet. After finishing the meal and staying at the Shangguan family's house for a while, Enai proposed to leave in the afternoon. It wasn't good to stay too long on the first day of visiting the Shangguan family. Source. Updated on NOVG0. C0. Ah? You are leaving already? Shangguan's old madam, holding little Enai Yun, said unwillingly. Enai said, Auntie, it's getting late. We should go home. Don't forget to bring Xiaoxiu and Xiaoxi to our house when you have time. Shangguan's old madam nodded repeatedly, of course. Enai continued, and Sister Su Lian and Sister Furong, you must remember to visit too. Even though Enai didn't like Shangguan Furong much, she had to be courteous at appropriate times. In the end, apart from Shangguan Furong, everyone in the Shangguan family was very nice. Su Lian nodded with a smile. We will definitely disturb you at that time. Shangguan Dehui escorted Enai home. Watching their retreating figures, a gratified smile appeared on Shangguan's old madam's face. Shangguan Furong said, "Mother, it seems you are quite satisfied with Daya?" Shangguan's old madam replied with a beaming smile, "Daya is beautiful, well-tempered, and filial. Of course, I am satisfied. I can't wait for your brother to marry her immediately." Shangguan Furong took a deep breath. "Mother, don't you think Daya is very cunning?" Shangguan's old madam shook her head. "Furong, it's you who has a problem, so it seems to you that others have problems when you look at them. Daya is good. She's precisely the daughter-in-law I want. No, she's even better than that." The old lady now has no complaints about Ni Zihua. She even felt very fortunate that Shangguan Dehui could meet Ni Zihua within his lifetime. "What about you? Xiaoshu, Xiaoxi, do you like Daya too?" Shangguan Furong turned her head to look at Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi. Shangguan 11 said, "Auntie Daya is a very nice person." "Aunt Furong, how can you talk about her like that?" Shangguan Su agreed with a nod. "I also think Auntie Daya and Dad are a good match." Shangguan Furong continued, "Our Shangguan family is very wealthy. It's inevitable that some people with ulterior motives would deliberately get close to your dad, intending to seize the wealth of the Shangguan family. You two silly kids, don't be sold off by someone and even help them count the money." At the end, disappointment filled Shangguan Furong's face. "I think Daya is not that kind of person." Su Lian said, "The eyes are the window to the soul. There is no greed in Daya's eyes." Shangguan Shi laughed and held Shangguan Furong's hand. "Aunt is right. Aunt Furong, you can relax. I've known Yang Yang for a long time now. I believe they are not that kind of people. Being sisters with Ni Yang is truly her honor." Shangguan Furong felt that Su Lian came intentionally to stir up trouble. Lin Fang was so outstanding, yet she didn't approve, instead favoring a rural woman. Shangguan Furong looked at Shangguan Su. "Xiaoshu, didn't you say before that the person who is with your dad should be from a well-matched family? Daya is just a small-time noodle seller. Do you think she is good enough for your dad?" Shangguan Su frowned. "Aunt, you must be mistaken. I remember saying that I respect my dad's choices. And being a small business owner doesn't mean she's unworthy. I believe we should not discriminate against different professions." Shangguan Su spoke resolutely, as if he wasn't the one who disdained Daya as a coarse and uncultured rural woman in the morning. Shangguan Furong was shaking with anger. She had only the family's best interest in mind, but no one in the family understood her. Chapter 628. Slapping Shangguan Furong under 7. Even good intentions are treated with contempt. Lady Shangguan looked at Shangguan Furong. "Furong, come with me for a moment." A light flickered in Shangguan Furong's eyes. It was clear that Lady Shangguan had something to say to her, but the presence of many people made it difficult for her to speak. Perhaps she too dislikes Daya. Her behavior just now was probably just a pretense. Shangguan Furong followed Lady Shangguan's footsteps, filled with joy. The two of them entered the study. "Furong, you dislike Daya, don't you? You feel that she doesn't take you seriously?" Lady Shangguan was her mother and knew her better than anyone else. Shangguan Furong was simply too dominant, wanting to take charge of everything herself. Even after her marriage, she still wanted to meddle with her family's affairs. If her sister-in-law were sharper and more capable than she, then she would become uncomfortable and feel as though she had lost her place at home. Not only did Shangguan Furong wish to control the affairs of her family, but she had also taken complete control of her husband's family. For instance, if she wanted her husband to wear a blue outfit that day, then he could not wear red. Source: updated on Wuxia World. So he must also like whatever food she enjoyed. If he liked a particular food and she didn't, she wouldn't even let him touch it. Both inside and outside the house, everything was well organized under her arrangement. Anyone who dared to defy her would immediately be met with a change of her face. She had a good heart, but was too domineering in dealing with matters, sometimes to an extreme extent. Shangguan Furong declared, "She has never taken me seriously in the first place. Respect is mutual. You have never shown her respect, so how can you expect her to respect you?" Lady Shangguan retorted. Shangguan Furong retorted, "Mom, after all, am I your daughter or is she your daughter?" And Ai Hua was nothing more than a village woman. The fact that she dignified herself to sit at the same table with Enai Zuihua for dinner was more than enough to give Enai Zuihua face. Lady Shangguan continued, Furong, if you continue with this attitude, I'm going to say something unpleasant. You are a married woman. If you continue to stretch your hands this long, how can your brother live peacefully? Shangguan Furong fell silent. I just feel Daya is not good enough for my brother. She's also not good enough for our Shangguan family. Lady Shangguan persisted, I think it is your brother who is not good enough for Daya. Shangguan Furong exclaimed in surprise, Mother, have you gone mad? How could Shangguan Dehui be unworthy of a village woman? Lady Shangguan replied, I'm not mad. I'm clear-headed. Daya, including her daughter Yang, are not ordinary people. They will certainly achieve great things in the future. Furong, sometimes birth doesn't mean everything. The fact that you are living this life today is simply because you were born in a better condition than Daya. If your birth conditions had been the same, you might not even be as good as Daya is now. Lady Shangguan was a person who could see far into the future. Through today's interaction with Enai Zuihua, she realized that Enai Zuihua was an outstanding person, whose progress had been hindered by the painful experiences of her early life. Now that she had moved out of that quagmire, her future would undoubtedly be bright. The fact that Shangguan Dehui could be with her was the fortune of both him and the Shangguan family. What a joke! How could I possibly be inferior to her? She had a postgraduate degree after all. Enai Zuihua, on the other hand, was illiterate. They were incomparable in terms of educational level alone. Seeing that her daughter was not open to communication, Lady Shangguan helplessly said, Fine, you can go. The reason I called you here separately was to tell you that I have accepted Daya as my daughter-in-law. If you continue to give her trouble in the future, don't blame me for being ruthless. This was one of the few times Lady Shangguan spoke harshly to her, and it was for an outsider. Shangguan Furong felt a little uncomfortable. She murmured, Then I'll leave first. How does she manage to be even worse than a country village woman? Wait a moment. The old Madame Shangguan called out to the retreating figure of Shangguan Furong. What is it? Take this with you. The old Madame Shangguan pointed to the gift box of ice skin jade texture on the table. It's Daya's heartfelt gesture after all. Shangguan Furong said, Mom, do you still not understand why I don't like Daya? It's not only because of her lineage. It's also her behavior. It would have been fine if she had brought the real ice skin jade texture. But she dared to try to trick me with counterfeit goods. Does she think I'm their poor rural relative? The old Madame Shangguan laughed. Daya is not the kind of person who would present false goods. Didn't she say it? This is Ice Skin Jade Texture's new product, which hasn't been released to the market yet. A new product? Shangguan Furong sneered. Can an ignorant village woman even get a hold of such an unreleased new product? She probably thinks she's the founder of Ice Skin Jade Texture. This kind of trick can only fool you and Su Lian. Indeed, Shangguan Furong did not believe that the Ice Skin Jade Texture brought by Enai Zuihua was authentic. The old Madame Shangguan slightly frowned. That's enough. If you don't want it, fine. Don't just suspect others. To avoid disturbing Enai Zuihua and Shangguan Dehui, Enai Yang decided to get off the car in the city center. She also had to go to school, because there was a Chinese exam in the afternoon. Shortly, only Enai Zuihua, little Enai Yun, and Shangguan Dehui were left in the car. Enai Zuihua, holding little Enai Yun, sat in the passenger seat. Shangguan Dehui reached out to touch Enai Kuihua's hand. Daya, Furong was pretty overbearing today. I'll talk to her when we get home, don't take it to heart. Enai Zuihua shook her head. It's okay. She didn't get the upper hand over me. Enai Zuihua was somewhat surprised Shangguan Dehui would actively address this issue. Normally in this situation, wouldn't an older brother instinctively defend his sister? But Shangguan Dehui didn't. Daya, thank you. Shangguan Dehui continued, Furong is strong-willed. If she does something wrong in the future, you don't need to consider my feelings. Say what needs to be said. She's the type who needs a scolding before she behaves. Enai Zuihua laughed. Whoever heard of a big brother talking about his sister this way? Shangguan Dehui squeezed Enai Kuihua's hand. I'm telling the truth. Do as I say and she won't dare to bully you. In a separate mansion in Beijing, a pale-faced man leaned on the bed, holding something shiny in his hand. Ziki, have you found out which family the car belongs to yet? No, Wang Ziki shook his head. The man clenched his hand, as if he was trying to crush the object he was holding. Wang Ziki continued, Sir Du, please don't worry. We just came from Shanghai to Beijing, and we're not very familiar with the forces here. I have already ordered a thorough investigation. As soon as we have any leads, I will inform you. Sir Du was a force to be reckoned with in Shanghai. But after all, this was Beijing. Sir Du looked up at Wang Ziki. Ziki, I trust you. Please don't let me down. Wang Ziki straightened up. Sir Du, I promise I won't let your trust down. Sir Du waved his hand. Okay, you can go. Then, please rest well. Wang Ziki turned and left. On the other hand, Shangguan Furong returned home in a gloomy mood. Just when a girlfriend came over for a chat, she was holding a flyer. Furong. Did you know Ice Skin Jade Texture has come out with a new product? It's going on sale this Monday. We must get there early. Chapter 629. Regret it now. _1 Shangguan Furong is a big fan of Ice Skin Jade beauty products. However, because many of their products are limited edition, she got herself a membership and opened a VIP service. Once you become a VIP client, whenever there are new products, the Ice Skin Jade Beauty headquarters will send promotional brochures to the VIP client in advance. Upon hearing this, Shangguan Furong expressed her surprise. Really? When did this happen? How come I didn't know? Look here, this is the promotional brochure they sent. Her friend handed her the flyer. Your mailbox should have one too, right? You'll check. Shangguan Furong went over to the mailbox and sure enough, she found the promotional brochure from Ice Skin Jade Beauty inside. Her friend continued, Furong, look, this new product includes rose essential oil. I specifically asked my aunt about it and she told me that rose essential oil is very rare. 1 ton of roses can only produce 100 grams of essential oil. Besides its beautifying effects, it also can calm premenstrual syndrome, regulate women's endocrine and menstrual cycles. The friend's name is Jiang Zhenzhen, who is also a die-hard fan of Ice Skin Jade Beauty. Jiang Zhenzhen's aunt is a doctor. What doctors say is completely trustworthy. Shangguan Furong's expression was priceless. Rose essential oil. And seaweed face masks. Source. Updated on Wuxia World. Said, could the gift box and Ai Hua gave her actually be genuine? Fong, what's wrong? Jiang Zhenzhen nudged Shangguan Furong. Shangguan Furong quickly snapped back to reality and chuckled, nothing. And Ai Hua is just a simple country girl. How could a country girl possibly have Ice Skin Jade Bowtie's new item? It must be counterfeit. Thinking in this way, Shangguan Furong felt a lot more at ease. Jiang Zhenzhen continued to say, Furong, tomorrow morning we have to go early and queue up. I heard they're only releasing 30 boxes of the new product every month. Shangguan Furong nodded. The next morning at 8 o'clock, both of them arrived at the nearest Ice Skin Jade Beauty store. The mall only opens at 9 o'clock, but there were already people waiting outside the door. Upon asking around, it turned out these people were all here for the new items of Ice Skin Jade Beauty. Looking at the crowd gathering together, Shangguan Furong frowned slightly and said to Jiang Zhenzhen, Zhenzhen, let's go back. Why? Jiang Zhenzhen seemed puzzled. Shangguan Furong covered her nose and whispered, how can we queue up with these people? It's so beneath us. Jiang Zhenzhen understood Shangguan Furong's thoughts and said with a smile, the new Ice Skin Jade Beauty products cost over 500 yuan per box. Though standing here, their status is not inferior to ours. Who would want to show their faces in a queue at ordinary times? But who would refuse when their products are so good? If they ask their housemaids to buy it for them, they might not trust them as people are willing to offer multiples of the original price to buy it. Thinking about it, Shangguan Furong decided to wait with the crowd for the mall to open. Ultimately, they managed to wait until 9 o'clock, the mall opened, and the crowd surged in, more crazily than the old men and women scrambling for discounted items in the supermarket. Through the eyes of people who were oblivious to the situation, they would think that the Ice Skin Jade Beauty products were cheap. Shangguan Furong cares greatly about her image. She did not wish to follow the crowd. Walking gracefully, she moved step by step towards the store. Seeing that Shangguan Furong would not let loose, Jiang Zhenzhen couldn't wait any longer. Furong, you come along at your own pace. I'll go queue up in the front. As soon as the sentence finished, Jiang Zhenzhen ran into the crowd, completely without any airs of an upper-class family. When Shangguan Furong arrived, the queue had become quite long. The new Ice Skin Jade beauty products were only limited to 30 boxes, not enough for everyone in such a large crowd. Therefore, the salesperson suggested that the remaining customers did not need to queue anymore. Jiang Zhenzhen was lucky, as she got the last spot in the queue. Shangguan Furong quickly approached her and whispered, "Zhenzhen, dear Zhenzhen, remember to spare me one box. I'm going to have a look at their face cleansers and aloe gels." Jiang Zhenzhen replied, "Are you daft? There's only 30 boxes of the new product, and we already have 30 people in line. What if there's an extra box today?" Shangguan Furong did not give up. Jiang Zhenzhen laughed and said, all right. If there is an extra one, I will surely get it for you." Only then did Shangguan Furong feel satisfied, turning around to go and choose other skincare products in the store. Chapter 630, Regret. _2. The booming business led to the increase of the store's staff from the initial 4 to 8. "Furong, have you made your purchase?" Jia Zhenzhen was in a pretty good mood after buying the limited edition icy muslin jade skin. "Zhenzhen, did you buy any extra?" asked Shangguan Furong. Jia Zhenzhen shook her head. "No." Shangguan Furong sighed. "Show me what you bought." Although she didn't score any, a feast for the eyes is always nice. Jia Zhenzhen handed the gift box to Shangguan Furong. The packaging of the new icy muslin jade skin is very elegant, and it's surprising that this box is exactly the same as the counterfeit that Enai Zihua gave her yesterday. What a coincidence! Shangguan Furong's face changed. Jia Zhenzhen continued, "Furong, this is rose essential oil, as the salesperson told me. You can add a few drops into your bathtub, or use it for aromatherapy and skin massage. And this is a seaweed mask, made with ingredients shipped from the deep sea near Guangguan. This mask is only available in the gift box. They don't sell it individually." Getting the limited edition new product made Jia Zhenzhen very happy. But Shangguan Furong wasn't so happy. "Zhenzhen, do you think there could be counterfeit icy muslin jade skin out there? Wuxia World. Site, counterfeit? I doubt there is any." Jia Zhenzhen opened up the gift box and continued, "Look, all their product boxes have anti-fake labels." "Where?" asked Shangguan Furong. "Right here, look. You can only see it under the light. Do you see the letters New York? That's the anti-fake label." The founder of the icy muslin jade skin line was very smart. They made it so that the label disappears once the box is opened to prevent reuse. You can only see it when it's brand new. The New York letters sparkled under the light. With this explanation, Shangguan Furong felt somewhat relieved. She handed the box back to Jia Zhenzhen. "Zhenzhen, I just remembered something I need to do. I'll leave first. I won't be going back with you." Jia Zhenzhen didn't have time to say anything before Shangguan Furong disappeared. Shangguan Furong rushed to the Shangguan family's house. Old Lady Shangguan was sitting on the sofa reading a newspaper. "Mom, why are you in such a hurry?" Old Lady Shangguan put down the newspaper. Shangguan Furong asked immediately, "Where is that counterfeit product that Dia brought?" "What counterfeit product?" Old Lady Shangguan frowned in displeasure. Just then, a middle-aged woman walked in from outside. "Sister, Yashu is here." Old Lady Shangguan stood up, smiling. "Aunt." Though Zhao Yashu was not much older than Shangguan Furong, she still had to properly address her as aunt. This was because she was Old Lady Shangguan's sister-in-law. Zhao Yashu nodded. "Sister, you said you had something nice for me over the phone. You wouldn't tell me what it was unless we met in person." Old Lady Shangguan smiled. "It's definitely a good thing for you young people. Stop beating around the bush." Zhao Yashu sat down next to Old Lady Shangguan. Old Lady Shangguan took a beautifully wrapped gift box from under the coffee table. "Here, this is for you." Zhao Yashu covered her mouth in disbelief. "New icy muslin jade skin. Oh my goodness! I had my maid queue for it early this morning, but she arrived too late and couldn't get any. Sister, you really are my dear sister. Xianxia was so excited that she was almost incoherent. Sister, where did you get this? You're incredible. Old Lady Shangguan laughed. This was brought by Di Hui's daughter-in-law, Daya. She originally intended to give it to Furong, but she didn't want it. Hope you won't mind. Since they're all family, Old Lady Shangguan decided to tell the truth. Zhao Yushu excitedly chimed in. What's there to mind? I'm more than delighted. I've been using icy muslin jade skin products for the last 6 months. When I heard from my maid that she failed to buy the new product, I was so upset. If Shangguan Furong didn't want it, it was her loss. Aunt, the icy muslin jade skin might be a fake. If you end up ruining your face, don't say I didn't warn you. Old Lady Shangguan sighed and shook her head. This child is just too suspicious. Zhao Yushu knew Shangguan Furong's personality well. She laughed and said, What's there to be afraid of? Doesn't icy muslin jade skin carry an anti-fake label? We can just open the package and check whether it's real or fake. Chapter 631. Regret it. _3. There's no need to check. Daya is not that kind of person, said the elderly Madame Shangguan. I think it's better to have a look for peace of mind. Shangguan Furong took the gift box and began to open the packaging. Zhao Yushu didn't mind. As the wrapping came off, a triumphant light shone in Shangguan Furong's eyes. I told you this was a fake. We haven't even checked it out yet. How do you know it's a fake? Zhao Yushu curiously queried. Shangguan Furong continued, Auntie, I also went to the ice crystal skincare store this morning. I wasn't that lucky. I didn't get the newly launched product. But my best friend who came with me did. Although these 2 gift boxes have the same exterior, their contents are completely different. Look at this rose essential oil. My friend's outer packaging is green, but this one is red. Same with the seaweed facial mask. The real mask comes in a white package, but you have a gold one. Shangguan Furong observed very carefully. This gift box was poles apart from the one sold in the store. Zhao Yushu said, maybe they changed the packaging. Furong, you can't declare something is fake just because the packaging is different. Check for a security label first. Zhao Yushu is quite fond of ice crystal skincare. She didn't manage to get their latest product this morning and had been feeling bummed. Suddenly a surprise gift appeared, but now it was alleged to be a fake. It was quite a roller coaster for her. What a joke this was. Shangguan Furong picked up the rose essential oil, the most expensive item in the gift box, and held its packaging under the light for a closer look. Wuxia World. Sight after a while, she could see the letters New York gradually appear under the light and start to brighten. This was the unique security label of Ice Crystal Skincare. The technology used was so advanced that no one could currently replicate it on the market. The grin on Shangguan Furong's face froze. It was real. The Ice Crystal Skincare product was genuine. Heavens! Why then did its packaging differ from the others? Zhao Yushu cried out in surprise. This is the Supreme Edition. Supreme Edition? What does that mean? Shangguan Furong asked, coming out of her shock. Zhao Yushu explained. Supreme Edition means it's a luxury version. The Ice Crystal Skincare membership card explains in detail. The Supreme Edition is even rarer than the Limited Edition. If there are 30 units of the Limited Edition, there will only be 3 of the Supreme Edition. Shangguan Furong had never read the membership card details carefully before, nor had she ever bought a Supreme Edition product, so she had no clue about this. Auntie, how did you know it's a Supreme Edition? She challenged. Look here. Zhao Yushu pointed to the front of the security label. The label has Supreme printed on it. Who on earth is Daya to get hold of cosmetic products of the Supreme Edition? I've wanted to buy it for a long time but never managed to. Beauty lover Zhao Yushu was absolutely ecstatic. Now she could show off among the ladies of other wealthy families. At their gatherings nowadays, it was not about comparing jeweler anymore, but who had more limited edition ice crystal skincare. The matriarch with more was the popular one in their circle. There had not been any appearances of the Supreme Edition ice crystal skincare yet. The elderly Madame Shangguan was a bit lost. So, is this real or fake? Xianxia laughed. Of course it's real. Moreover, it's the most difficult kind to find. Besides, who would give fake goods as gifts? That's like shooting oneself in the foot. The elderly Madame Shangguan nodded repeatedly. I told you, Daya is not that kind of person. Sister-in-law, who exactly is Daya? Zhao Yushu was bursting with curiosity. How come this person can give away something she herself, who is from a wealthy family, can't even buy? And 2 boxes at that. Just a self-employed noodle seller who came from the countryside to Beijing. Shangguan Furong replied with some frustration. She too was intrigued. How could a self-employed vendor afford such things? Of course, there is another reason why Shangguan Furong said that. She hoped Zhao Yushu would reject the ice crystal skincare. With Zhao Yushu's status, she would look down on a gift from a self-employed vendor, wouldn't she? If Zhao Yushu were to refuse, the skincare would return to her. Chapter 632, Regret It Now. _4. If Jia Zhenjin was happy with getting the standard version of Ice Skin Jade Complexion, she would surely die of envy knowing that I have the Supreme Edition. Though Shangguan Furong could be a bit dominant, she did have some smarts. However, Zhao Yushu completely ignored Shangguan Furong's implied intent and looked at the old Shangguan lady, saying, I feel you must be quite satisfied with Daya, aren't you? If she had followed Shangguan Furong's lead, that would have been foolish. Who wouldn't want such an excellent product like Ice Skin Jade Complexion? Satisfied. The old Shangguan lady nodded her head repeatedly, very satisfied. Then when are you planning to settle this matter? It's not easy to find a good woman these days. Since Dehui and her have such good karma, it's better to settle things down earlier for peace of mind, Zhao Yushu continued. Though she had never met Daya in person, her impression of Daya was quite good. So what if she comes from a rural area? Even a girl from the countryside managed to get hold of the Supreme Edition Ice Skin Jade Complexion. For the people in their elite circle, even the standard version was out of reach. The old Shangguan lady proceeded to say, that will depend on Dehui and Daya's intentions. That she was older and some decisions should be made by the young people. Meddling too much could be bad. Things will straighten out naturally when they are supposed to. Moreover, Shangguan Dehui is probably quite in a rush for this matter even if she isn't. Wuxia world. Sight Zhao Yushu nodded. That's right, this matter depends on the 2 main characters. I must stop imposing now, sister-in-law. I have things to attend to at home. Thank you for the Ice Skin Jade Complexion. I should head back. With that, Zhao Yushu took the gift box from Shangguan Furong's hands. Furong, visit me when you got the time. Looking at Shangguan Furong, it seemed that she didn't want to part with the Supreme Edition of Ice Skin Jade Complexion. If she didn't leave now, she might not get the chance to later. Zhao Yushu wasn't a fool. When the box left Shangguan Furong's hands, her heart also went empty. The Supreme Edition Ice Skin Jade Complexion. It was originally hers. In just the blink of an eye, it became someone else's. Aunt. Shangguan Furong stood up, staring at the Ice Skin Jade Complexion in Zhao Yushu's hand. Furong, is there something else? Zhao Yushu turned to look at Shangguan Furong, pretending not to understand the implication in Shangguan Furong's eyes. Aunt, that Ice Skin Jade Complexion? Zhao Yushu smiled and said, Furong, don't worry, I will use it well. I won't stay to bother you. I need to leave now. With that, she quickly left the Shangguan's home, afraid that Shangguan Furong might snatch the Ice Skin Jade Complexion from her hand. Shangguan Furong fell despondently onto the sofa, her face extremely unpleasant. The old Shangguan woman asked in confusion, what happened? Shangguan Furong turned to the old Shangguan woman, complaining, how could you give the Ice Skin Jade Complexion to my aunt? Do you know how much effort it took me to get the Supreme Edition? I woke up at 7 this morning, arrived at the mall at 8, and couldn't get even a standard version. You even gave away my thing without telling me. Shangguan Furong was upset. How could it be like this? That was her thing. Old lady Shangguan looked up at Shangguan Furong. Didn't you say that the Ice Skin Jade Complexion was fake? What? You regret it now? Shangguan Furong was taken aback. Even if it is a fake, you can't just give it to someone else. The old Shangguan woman calmly turned a page of her newspaper. It doesn't matter since the one whose face will be ruined isn't you. Why are you so worried? Old Lady Shangguan did this on purpose. She wanted to irritate Shangguan Furong. Otherwise, she would forever remain ungrateful. Shangguan Furong started to argue. I said it would ruin her face, but I didn't say I don't want it. I may be old, but my memory isn't failing. If I remember correctly, you directly refused Dia yesterday morning, didn't you? Ah. Shangguan Furong's regret made her want to retch. Old Madame Shangguan continued, Furong, I have told you many times not to judge people by their appearance and background. You never break this habit. Also, you really need to change your domineering attitude, or else who will be able to tolerate you in the future? As long as Zhao Shen can tolerate me, it's enough. Shangguan Furong was vexed. Why do you care so much? I'm leaving now. Zhao Shen was Shangguan Furong's husband, normally under her tight control. In private, Zhao Shen had complained to the old Shangguan woman countless times. Chapter 633. Regret it now. _5. Lady Shangguan felt deep sympathy for her honest and obedient son-in-law. She intended to aid Zhao Shen, but she had no control over her daughter at all. Lady Shangguan watched Shangguan Furong's retreating figure, shaking her head helplessly. Shangguan Furong returned to the Zhao house, fuming with rage. Furong, you're back. Zhao Shen immediately rose from the sofa. Pour me a cup of tea. Oh, all right. Zhao Shen immediately poured Shangguan Furong a cup of tea. After taking one sip, Shangguan Furong immediately spat the tea back out. Zhao Shen, are you deliberately trying to irritate me? Didn't I tell you already? I don't like pure tea. I want Biluakan tea. Biluakan tea. What part of that do you not understand? Shangguan Furong was already seething with anger, and Zhao Shen, the perennial scapegoat, was an easy target. Zhao Shen immediately trembled with fear, and quickly fetched a tissue to wipe Shangguan Furong's mouth. I'm sorry. I was going to drink this pure tea myself. I poured the wrong pot. I'll pour you another one. Zhao Shen, exclaimed Shangguan Furong. She slammed her teacup onto the tea table. How many times have I told you? You are not allowed to drink pure tea either. There shouldn't be any pure tea in this house. Who allowed you to buy it? Who gave you the permission? Are you trying to rebel? I am sorry, I won't dare to do it again next time. Zhao Shen, the strange man, preferred black and red teas like pure, but Shangguan Furong only liked green tea, and only drank green tea. And so, the conflict escalated. Wuxia World. Sight Wuxia World. Ko Shangguan Furong, too furious to speak, picked up the teapot and smashed it to the ground, pointing at the shards. Kneel down. Zhao Shen, I've finally realized. Unless I make you suffer a bit, you will never remember my rules. Zhao Shen's mother emerged from the inner room, looking at her dominating and overbearing daughter-in-law, too stunned to speak. Zhao Shen was a pushover, and he knelt down when Shangguan Furong ordered him to do so. Those were sharp shards. How could anyone kneel on them without getting hurt? Zhao Shen's mother frowned out of concern. But there was nothing she could do about it. Who could be blamed when her son was so spineless? Just then, the butler came to inform, Madam, Miss Jia is here. Shangguan Furong turned to Zhao Shen, go kneel in the room. All right, Furong, don't be angry. You know what the books say, anger can make you age faster. Zhao Shen quickly made his way toward the bedroom. Soon after, Jia Zhinzhin entered from outside. Furong. Zhinzhin. Shangguan Furong greeted, smiling. Furong, what happened to you at the mall? Why did you just leave suddenly? Jia Zhinzhin asked, concerned. Shangguan Furong replied, it's nothing. Of course, she couldn't say that she had missed out on the supreme edition of the Ice Skin Jade Cream. All thanks to the old lady Shangguan. And Dia. Surely she did it on purpose. If she had just said earlier that this was the supreme edition of Ice Skin Jade Cream, there wouldn't have been this misunderstanding, right? Rural people will always remain rural people and could never step into the spotlight. Even though she had taken her anger out on Zhao Shen just now, Shangguan Furong was still livid. Jia Zhinzhin glanced at the shattered pieces on the floor and whispered, Did you have another fight with Ziking's dad? Ziqing was Shangguan Furong's eldest daughter, 9 years old. Shangguan Furong grumbled, "He's as useless as trash. He's not even comparable to a Mo Qishan." Jia Zhenzhen tugged at Shangguan Furong's sleeve, signaling for her to lower her voice. Shangguan Furong retorted, "What's there to be afraid of? I didn't say anything wrong." Ultimately, the head of the Shangguan household was her. Who would dare to do anything to her? Be they young or old, everyone had to live by her rules. Jia Zhenzhen pulled Shangguan Furong to the sofa and whispered, "Furong, you should really keep your temper in check. Despite everything, Ziking's dad is a man, and he has his own dignity. If you keep this up, aren't you afraid that he might retaliate one day?" Jia Zhenzhen had known Shangguan Furong for many years now, and she was very familiar with her temper. Too hot-tempered and too domineering. "Furong, some truthful words are unpleasant to hear." At her words, Shangguan Furong's expression changed. She nodded slowly, I get it." Jia Zhenzhen knew it wasn't a good time to stay around, so she said, "Knowing you're okay puts my mind at ease. I'll get going then." Shangguan Furong nodded. And Yang had an exam in Chinese yesterday afternoon. Today, she was scheduled for math and English exams. She arrived at the campus right when the classes had just been dismissed. Yang was dressed in a blue and white school uniform, holding a few books. As she strolled down the path shaded by camphor trees, she attracted the attention of quite a few students who stopped to watch. You're tuning in to the Wandering Hero YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.